Previously on GRAPPL Patreon.
And I've got to say as well, while you're mentioning music, X-Pac comes out, and I won't blow your mind with it, we'll make some noise again, Mike, but you're dealing with the X-Factor hit, big smile hit my face. Yeah. Fucking love that song, what a great song. Uncle Cracker.
Big smile hit your face, but it hit nobody else in the Gund Arena. I love that. Do you think it's like, as sort of like 90s kids and growing up on TV shows where sort of something like Nickelodeon kids shows, neon food and neon drink is amazing, isn't it? Like if you see like a bright green or a bright blue food or drink, it's like, well, I'm getting some of that. Like the food Simpsons isn't that well. Yeah, Simpsons, yeah. It's just, there's something about those wacky colour things when you see them in the shop and you're like, I've got to try it. There's that Pepsi Electric. It's trap. That electric Pepsi is miserable. It doesn't taste anything. But it's like, but it was blue, so I bought like 4 bottles. Just thinking it'd be
I couldn't have told you in a million years this match happened on this night. Which is Earl Hebner versus Nick Patrick, the referee battle. WWE versus the Alliance with Mick Foley as special referee as well. Fuck, did you just remember the second?
Yeah, of course, Benno.
You loved it as well, Matt. Earl Hebner v Nick Patrick, there's a little video package for it as well.
They love it, man. It's real. It's real to them. They're the biggest marks in the building.
Nobody knew what the BSK was, did they, outside of them? Now, like, round tables and documentaries. Imagine trying to explain that. What was BSK? Oh, yeah, it was me fake gang and me fake wrestling job, but backstage.
Mick Foley at this pay-per-view is 36.
I played this game for a long time when I was prepped for something. I wasn't prepped for 36.
I can't.
Fucked up.
I've listened to you blow people's minds with ages before, but it's not nice being on the wrong end of it. Now I get it. That hurts. That really hurts. That one. 36.
Younger than all of us. Hello, and welcome to Spotlight, the official podcast of GRAPPL. I'm Benno.
I'm JP.
And I'm Matty.
As you may have just heard, that was the fun we were having at the weekend, Matthew. With thanks again to our good friend Michael Hamflett for joining us on the show. It wasn't just an X Factor retrospective or another game of the age game. We went back. We looked back at Invasion. We had a hell of a time.
Always great. And to say another big thank you to Michael Hamflett for coming on and just could talk to him all day, Benno, about anything, but especially the Fed, like, and going back to this time period, our second favourite year now, is it? 2001, and the invasion and covering everything in the lead up, obviously talking about the pay-per-view itself, and Mick Foley, mate, 36, Benno.
JD, what's your reaction to that one, mate? Like, that's just, like, and we're talking again, just if for the context, 2001, you know, he's put a bit of weight on, he's wearing the referee shirt, it feels decades since he was an in-ring wrestler. Like, we're about to go with Commissioner Foley as well. Barely into the second half of his 30s. Like, what do we do?
Mate,
unreal.
I knew that there was a big age reveal that blew everyone's minds, but not even I expected that one. That's wrong. And the fact that he is near, give or take, 10 years younger than what I am today makes me feel slightly better about myself. I won't lie, because he looked like a fucking
you look great, mate. I saw those topless pictures while you were in Egypt, mate. You're looking well, you know.
Hey,
getting you
see the
right?
belly to back suplex I was doing in the pool? We were doing some fucking bombs in there, mate. Honestly,
it's got to be done.
Oh, mate, if it all you need to do is just find a 7-year-old who's willing for you to do fucking proper extreme power bombs into the diving end, and Egyptian lifeguards, 0 fucks given, which really helped with doing that kind of stuff as well. But 36, he retired. Like what? Like, he could have just retired and done nothing then at that point, which is exactly what I would do if I was 36 and not fucking I'd earned millions.
People age differently. That's our ongoing scientific lesson that we've learned as we went. We're also learning dad tips from JP. Powerbomb your kids in the pool. That'll be on the upcoming episode of GRAPPL Dads when JP and Gareth get together and record their show. That's coming. But we've got something similar coming up. Speaking of the show with Hamflett, and again, if you want to get that, patreon.com/GRAPPL or the YouTube, you can become a member there. And again, love having Michael on. Big fan of the What Culture shows that they do over there. So yeah, we always have a great laugh with him, don't we, Matty? We've dragged him in now. He's like our 2001 WWF correspondent now. We'll have him back for
a Fed Odyssey will always
Fed Odyssey. Keep going. But yeah, fun doesn't end there, mate. It's a new month. It's fucking unbelievably, lads. It is All In month. It is.
It's scary.
Remember this time last year, JP, when we were like, oh no, 3 weeks to go until Wembley. Tony Khan hasn't announced any matches yet. We've actually got a few this year, at least, to be fair. But yeah, it doesn't feel right that it's fucking that close coming up, and we're into that month. Our live show, get your tickets. We're just over 3 weeks away. Crazy.
That is fucking mental that we're doing that in a just a few very short weeks, given how time is sort of speeding through at this stage. I'm absolutely terrified, just thinking, fucking hell, we've got that coming up as well. Load of stuff to organise for it as well, but it's going to be absolutely incredible. So if you want your tickets for that, grapple.bigcartel.com. Say Saturday the 24th, just before the Rev Pro show, the Hackney Bridge, which is across the road from the Copper Box. It is next door as far as buildings go. There's also a massive McDonald's there that's nearby if you want to go there as well at the same time. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And hopefully the weather's going to be good because it's fucking sweltering today, lads. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Weather keeps for the whole month, lads. And as you say, Benno, that's not all that's going on this month. It's a bit of an on-location month, Benno, if we're going to call it that as well. Because in a week's time, me, you and Gareth will be piloting a new show, hopefully, to stay on the GRAPPL network there. And we're going to call it the GRAPPL Lads. So we're looking forward to that.
We'll see how the numbers do, mate. We'll see. It's got legs on that,
Yeah. But you're looking forward to that, Benno? Me, you and Gareth just putting the phone down, hitting record and seeing what we talk about.
This is our plan. So we're giving JP the weekend off. So we're like, well, what can we do that weekend? We need a show that me, Matty and Gareth can do together. And then it occurred to us, didn't it, Matty? We live near each other. Why don't we see each other ever?
It's Gareth's birthday coming up as well. To
be fair, it's the other way around. Actually, I'm telling that story the wrong way around because actually what happened was Gareth said, do you want to go for a pint around my birthday? And I said, yeah, sound. Should we make a podcast? Because I'm a fucking knobhead and I can't do anything about making a podcast.
That sounds like you.
What we're going to do, lads in the pub, like we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, kind of capture that magic, have a couple of pints and just set the world to rights. Just talk about whatever we fancy. Maybe I was thinking we'll come with some pre-prepared questions for each other, Matty, maybe, and we'll think of different things we wanted to ask each other always, or we'll just have a drink, see if anybody joins us at our table, or if anybody in the pub wants to have a chat. We completely original idea. This, we're not completely stealing it from the Ogdens or anything like that.
We never do that.
The name, but thank you to Andy and Jeff for the inspiration. But yeah, lads in a pub, GRAPPL Lads. Can't think of anything better. And is it? I've gone with GRAPPL Lads, Matty, is GRAPPL ADS, or are they two separate words? Do you want to break the tie on this one, JP? What do you reckon? What's the nomenclature?
I liked what you put down in the schedule of GRAPPL ads. I know it sounds like GRAPPL advertising, like setting up an advertising.
Could be two.
Much less exciting, but one word does it's just better, and it rolls.
It looks better. Well, Benno, as well, definitely keep it.
All right, we're going with that. GRAPPL Lads. It's set.
Got to be
coming up this one.
I would just say, as someone who did one of the one of those times where Andy, Jeff, and Chris and they all came down to Oxford for the day, and we just got absolutely shit faced in a pub, and that was recorded, and that was like the first 2 episodes, I think, of TNA. And it was a fucking mess. I was a mess on that. So just have the notes at the ready for the inevitable apology.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. JP, with the beer that Matty drinks, it's 1%. We'd have to have 40 of them.
Oh, JP, you don't worry about me, mate. It's the other lads here. Don't worry about me at all.
Corona boy over there, not happening. Me and Gareth, though, we should take your word to water, JP, 100%.
It's good enough for Vin Diesel and the family, Benno. Corona, so come on, it's good enough.
True that, actually. I want to like it because of that. It's fucking shit, though. Not a beer. It doesn't count.
But also, Benno, on the pre-show there, we had another coming up this month. We had an absolutely wild but out the box choice, JP, from our King of the Mountain, Carl Gach, who suggested a deep cut on a famous tag team in the wrestling business. And no, it's not the Steiner brothers, it's not the Legion of Doom, it's the Insane Clown Posse. JP, your initial thoughts?
genuinely didn't see that coming. Like, God bless Carl, because he'll keep you on your toes with some of the stuff that he'll pick. But the insane, and it covers a lot of ground. It's an epic. It's the.
I regret saying 3 hour limit now, lads. I'll go 12 hours on there.
Yeah.
No, 3 hours is good limit. Good. Connor, if you're listening, 3 hours main playlist, please, mate. Sickos can be like can be their whole career probably at this point.
I was going to say, to be fair, how many 20+ minute matches did they have? None.
In WCW and WWF, like there's probably like less than 20. I don't know. On telly at least, televised.
Yeah.
That could be the full Sickos cut, maybe. Yeah. Recommended somewhere in the middle. I like it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was an inspired choice. Also, coming up further into the month, we've got finally doing one that's been wanting to cover for a while, lads, a mixtape on best matches on British soil. So, you know, any come to your head straight away, Dave, without giving too much. Well, obviously, Brett Bulldog, you know, the obvious ones, but I'm sure we'll delve deep into the deep cuts, JP, and pick a few wild ones.
There's plenty of redacted ones. That's that is the issue. Like, I was thinking, there's some great matches I've seen live. It was just redacted versus redacted.
It's one, I reckon. Ballroom. I think you wrote down on the planned shows document so long ago, JP, that now everybody who would have been in mind has been cancelled since then. I think that's what's happened there. But it's still a good. I still think it's a good idea. I think it'd be,
it's a cracking idea.
To go through and
mine will be all WWF choices, obviously.
Yeah. And again, inclusion won't be endorsement either, so we'll see how we get on with it. It's funny. I think I'm just going back in time here. I'm going back to covering Brit Res. I'm doing a show with Martin Bushby on Friday. Cheap plug for that on the Poison Rana Network. The Eagles Don't Hum Flies show. I'm going to be recording, talking about the Shield versus Evolution. So yeah, bit of Martin Bushby in my week and a bit of British wrestling in my month there. There you go. Dig into the old bag of tricks there, JP.
It is. That's classic, Benno. That is. That really is.
I'm not sure it's classic.
You and Martin old British wrestling. It is. No, I tell you, it's classic.
We had some good years. We did.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. Back to a much more innocent time. But what a brilliant month. Like, what a brilliant month of stuff.
Well,
like,
JP, it's not over there, mate. It's not over there, because also coming this month, we've obviously got the Brett show is going to get recorded. Time returns, JP, at the end of the month as well. So we've got an obviously long, busy month ahead. And obviously this weekend, Benno, you know, a few changes to the schedule, isn't he? With the weekend show being Thursday previewing SummerSlam, and obviously on Sunday.
Spotlight's going to be just me and Matty next week. So yeah, we were thinking we'll maybe do a bit of an earlier recording for Spotlight.
Yeah,
should probably be all things come together Sunday night for that as well. So mixing up the schedule, turning it on its head a little bit just to maybe get more of a timely review in. So yeah, maybe expect that in your podcast feeds on Monday next week. And of course, to add to that, we'll have the live show in London. If you can't make it, we hope you can. But if you can't, we might be able to sneak the audio out for patrons and throw that on the feed as well. So expect that too. Fuck me, it's a busy month, but August always is. We expect it, and that's what we've said. JP, time's going to be like our little because I think I'm on the show again. I think I've got a call back. I think I'm allowed to come back, only because Garrett's on holiday. But I think I'm allowed back on the show. I think I did well enough to work my tryout match, my dark match went okay. I'm on a second time, but that week we're not going to want to talk about wrestling at all. We're just going to be all looking after All In weekend and everything. It'll just be let's just talk about some fucking 90s soaps. Maybe some American telly, if you can do us a favour, Liam. Stick a little bit in there for us. Bit of hip hop, you know. Who knows? That'll be the
word, hopefully. That normally
We've got to see what Danny Bear's up to, JP, in this year. We always get to mention on it.
Control F Danny. That's what it is now. It's its own show. There we go. We'll round it out properly. Good way to end the month.
Just to look, as you say, jam-packed month, Benno, but, you know, a few changes here and there and a few different show ideas. So it's a fresh month, mate. Can't wait.
Fantastic. There we go. So you can join us on Patreon for all that. Looking forward to Brett show coming back as well, Matty. But anything else you want to plug? Any other million shows you're on this month? Any other tours you do? And I've got a couple, but I'm holding them in the holster. You know, we're on the offensive. We've got tickets to sell. You know.
I know. Well, I shouldn't give too much away actually about that. But someone's creating a Photoshop as we speak, hopefully, and that should be debuting on the weekend show.
The tickets so that you can sell them for cash, mate, and top of the money. Is that what that is? Hooky around the back.
Would I do that, Benno?
Hackney Bridge, under a bridge. I can picture that.
Cash in hand, the way Christ intended. Go on, man. You're good. I'm game.
Apparently the raffle's cash, so bring cash.
Big cash, people. It's on the comeback cash anyway in general. But the only show I'm actually know about this month that I'm doing another episode of Muck with Andy Ogden on the 12th of August. So people look out for that one as well. You know what we're covering, JP? One of your favourite storylines of all time. It's Kane's May 19th storyline. Do you remember that one?
Kane's May 19th storyline.
Don't remember May 19th?
Heidenreich or something like that, is it?
No, okay, we just
don't remember May 19th, lads.
It ties into when See No Evil come out, JP. Yeah. That's the release date of the movie.
This is maskless Kane, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
And it ties into Luke Gallows coming back as Max Kane, and there's all sorts of shite going on, JP. So yeah, we're going to cover that and break that down. So
brilliant.
Looking forward to that. But lads, have a great show. I'll be listening on my commute in the morning, as always.
Nice one, mate.
Good to have you back, JP, Benno. See you soon,
Thank you, Matthew.
Looking forward to the month, Matty.
Thank you.
See you later, mate.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff.
On that note, JP, got a fucking shitload coming up this month, but we've missed you, mate. I did the weekend show with Steph on Friday. It was a newsworthy one. A whole bunch of shit has happened in the last week or so while you've been having those Egyptian desserts we were just talking about on the pre-show. And you're dying to get your takes out on, mate. And that's popped into head. We're going to keep the format we've been popping through with me, Gareth, and Matty the last couple of weeks. Keep it casual, like I say, mates in the pub. And you were listening to thinking, I want to get my take off on that one. I reckon I know what it is, but
you know what it is because it was the and admittedly for the weekend show you had a real Hobson's choice because you had two cracking images that you could use. And I remember you saying, like, when you were talking with Steph about it, it's like, I'm going to use this one for the video and I'm going to use this one because it was landscape and portrait. But you had the Drew McIntyre with Jack Perry and Sadiq Khan holding what can only be described as a piss take of a WWE belt. Given how they give those fucking things out to every NFL team and NBA team in the world, that's just insulting. That really is. I mean, I think, was it Andy Ogden had said there in the chat, it's like, it just reminds you of that episode of Father Ted where they're looking at Dougal's looking at cows in the field, the difference between very small and far away. If you told me they just got their hands up like that, and then there's a gigantic belt floating in the background, and they just hold, in the same way that, I can squish the Eiffel Tower, as people will be doing in Paris and stuff like that, I'd have completely gone along with that. But that was the one that got like my go up because there was all this excitement of all midnight. There's a press release. There's stuff coming out. I was there with dubious fucking Wi-Fi and I saw this and my initial thought was, oh, fuck off. And then I just went and closed down the story and I went, right, I just want to hear what your takes are on it as well as I digested the various things from it. So yeah, that'd be the first place I'd want to go to.
Fucking, I'm just sorry. I got the BBC website here. Apparently, it's all kicking off in Southport after the horrendous thing that happened this weekend. People setting police vans on site. Fucking hell, calm down, lads.
Oh, Jesus,
awful thing that's happened.
Oh, horrible.
Christ. But I mean, it goes to the point like that. This story has been covered on BBC News of all places. I desperately wanted your take on it, JP, because I think I know what you're going to say. Fucking, what better thing to spend public money on than averting any kind of tragedies, or maybe spending the money on improving things that are going on around London or around the greater area. We're going to bring WrestleMania in, despite the fact that there's actually a show GRAPPL in Wembley in just over 3 weeks that we could promote for free, and that we could have promoted last year that sold allegedly 80,000 tickets instead. Like, it's the thing that blew my mind about this story. You got fucking Sadiq Khan's people, they're the ones putting the story out. It's the Mayor of London office that's sending this to everybody, and that's where the nugget of the story come from. You got Triple H following up with little videos, Nick Khan loving it. Like I say, they're posting for that photo up with that tiny belt. Honest to God, I'm guessing though the public money, JP, is probably the most galling thing for you. But what distraction tactics is it from our mate Sadiq here?
I mean, I think there's a bit of that. I mean, there's so many things to this as well. And it's kind of like what you and Steph had said, where there's a lot to this story. Simultaneously, there's nothing to this story. Because it's just a meeting. And there's no big announcement where if you think, you've got an embargo until midnight and there's all these people who will properly creaming their fucking pants, going, "Oh, thing's going to be happening." It's like what? Because Sadiq Khan had a meeting. He meets lots of people. I thought to myself, like, it was interesting that this story was released. It was released by the mayor's office. I think, though, like, the fact that it has been publicly announced in this way, the suggestion to me is it is happening in some way, shape, or form, because I don't think they would do this if they were. Like, otherwise, it would be like, well, what's the game? And I think for Sadiq Khan, there is this kind of crusade that he somewhat had about London as sporting capital of the world and all these big events that are going to be constantly on the go to just have a steady stream of tourists. But I like there's just so many things, like the public spending thing, because that's the problem here, is that WWE will want money for this. Like, they don't do this stuff for free. They're not interested in trying to get in on the ground floor. They couldn't care less about that stuff. That's just not how they operate. So, like, where's that going to come from? Particularly, sorry to get all political, there's been a 22 billion shortfall in public finances announced by Labour that the Conservatives didn't bother to tell anyone about simultaneously. And so they're cutting infrastructure projects up and down the country. Like, if they're paying for WrestleMania, but they're not giving winter fuel allowance to pensioners, that's a bad look. I'll just throw that one in there. I don't think that's like some particularly exciting thing necessarily to say, but it's not a good look. And that's like, and then it got to like, well, where are they going to hold it? Because also Wembley needs the money. Wembley's massively in debt. So they will have as many shows as they can have on the go, and they do have lots of shows anyway. Obviously got Taylor Swift for a whole load of sets, which is in some ways, I remember you speaking about this last week with Gareth and Matty, and saying about they're going to use the setup that Taylor Swift used, so effectively, you know, you're going to have massive screens and everything else, and it's going to look kind of great. But I'm not even sure they're going to be using Wembley even, and this comes into the other one, if it's public money's being spent on them and they're going to Tottenham Hotspur, I think on general principle, I'd have to not go. Otherwise, I'd come across as the biggest hypocrite in the world. Because two things. One, the public finance side of it. They don't pay money to the NFL to play here. They get to charge tickets through the roof, but they don't pay the NFL for coming here. I think it's part of a bigger game, as I've often said, about Jacksonville Jaguars moving to London at some point and having an NFL team here. But if they go to Tottenham Hotspur, I've resolved that I do not give that club any money in any way, shape or form. And if that involves buying a pint at the ground, I'd sooner give people cash in order to get me a drink, because just on principle, I'm not having them debit any money out of my account. But anyway, I digress. It's one of these weird things of, does London... Normally, you think as Brits, oh, okay, we should be incredibly excited about this because we would get a WrestleMania on our doorstep. We'd get it in London. It'd be 2 nights. It'd be a big event. They have events like this all of the time in London. It's London, for God's sakes. It's not Indianapolis. It's London. It's one of the biggest and most important cities in the world in there. I think there's a few things, like I know that you'd written on that a lot. Are they stealing Wembley? I don't know if they can, because it's the Jags who are often the ones that are coming over, and they want to have a game at Wembley because the ticket prices they can charge for it. They don't want to lock out the Khans. They don't want to piss off Shad Khan. There's a bigger picture on that front. It's not just about like AEW. It's about the Jaguars. It's about the NFL being able to do this. I would say for Spurs, and you know, I used to live around there. There's no tube station nearby to Tottenham. Right. There's train stations. They're shit. I used to bunk the fare on the way to school of them all the time. But like, you'd have to walk for what would be like a good 1.5 miles from Seven Sisters Tube to Spurs' ground. It's like, it's an awkward.
They've done it though, haven't they, for like big concerts and stuff like that? They
have, and boxing. Boxing has always been like the thing that like Spurs' stadium is very well, and they've done it for NFL as well. So that people will go, people will find a way of doing it. So it makes me think even Spurs' stadium might end up being more of a goer for this one. There's also things like the European weather, and do they want this on European time because it's WrestleMania? It's
Time
the one
a big thing, isn't it? 2 nights in a row as well, because don't forget, we don't do one night WrestleManias anymore. We do 2 night WrestleManias. Like 2 nights in a row, we're going to do what UFC did in Manchester last weekend and be like, yeah, but sorry kids, main event's going to be hitting the ring at 4 a.m. I don't know if that's a play. I don't see that happening. That's what gives me most doubt, because I'm like you, I'm 50-50 on it. There's half of me that's like, WWE might be playing a game here, but all equally, yeah, if the mayor's office is putting this out and, you know, they're going this heavy with the, you know, the fact that it's getting on BBC's main website and it's getting on in other places, like, part of me thinks there must be smoke to it, and there's another part of me that's like, yeah, but practically I just don't see it. Any other pay-per-view, yeah, I still think this is a bargaining tool to maybe persuade other people to bid higher for WrestleMania, including the Saudis, and then we get something, but it's like, oh, remember SummerSlam 92? Guess what? We're going to do SummerSlam in the UK instead. They've done that with, was it Minneapolis that happened to, and that's more of a acceptable, well, it's on a, you know, an earlier time and it's over 2 nights in the UK, but you're still getting your 2-night extravaganza. It's still good. It's a SummerSlam. That's maybe where the two split sides are. The side that maybe believes the smoke to it, and the side that thinks, I just can't see it practically working. Maybe meet in the middle. That it ends up not being WrestleMania, and to soften the blow, it ends up being SummerSlam. But yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on it.
I think the SummerSlam one is more interesting just simply because of the time difference and the fact that in the States the kids are off school. So if you're wanting to show this to everyone and you're doing it in early August, you can get away with it because there's no one back in school at that point in time. So you can get away with doing an afternoon show, of which I didn't see a load of complaints when like American wrestling and Canadian wrestling fans are having to watch a show in the afternoon. They seem quite grateful that they got their show out of the way early into the evening and they weren't having to stay up all night.
Which again, to me, point, I think you can do that. I just think WrestleMania's too, maybe I'm wrong, too prestigious to do that with. I don't know. But
it's their big, it's almost like WrestleMania's branding tool is like, it's their one time of the year where they do all of the talk shows in the US. And you got to think about, like, for that audience, their expectation is they're going to be watching it like kind of on an evening. They've built this up in a way that their expectation is that this is a big US event. This is the thing that gets them the coverage in the US. It's what kickstarts a lot of their tours. And normally, like post Mania, they then come to Europe, don't they, as to kind of like let things calm down over in the States. So they have to rejig their schedules and everything else. I think that the Rumble one will be interesting, but they'd have to do it where there's a roof. Now, I'm right in thinking that the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium has a roof. I don't like myself saying that. That's how childish I am.
WWE, it's Spurs. It's like two of your favourite things, mate.
I don't even want Spurs. I do SP * RS. Like I refuse. Like I've just grown.
Like my dad with red shite. Not Liverpool of the red shite. That's all they got called in my house.
I always remember you referring to Liverpool as the Devil's Club. Like that was always it was always a thing that you said about this as well.
The shite usually.
So I think like a Rumble, a 2-day Rumble would be a kind of an interesting one for sort of testing the waters for it, but they'd have to do it somewhere with a roof because of the time of year. But also,
Space Stadium does have a roof. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It does.
So like that would feel like if they could do something like SummerSlam, that would be probably the more likely place for them to be able to go to for that there. But I mean, I think there's a whole other thing which I thought that when this was the announcement, and just given the amount of press coverage and given the amount of play that this got, and it was like almost, it was complete, like you say, completely forgotten that there was a wrestling show at Wembley last summer that sold 81,000 tickets. I'm not getting into a Brent Council debate again, but sold 81,000 tickets. Of those for that, and that got completely ignored. Now, I noticed you've been using the word infrastructure recently, and I'm liking that fact.
There's your title.
But infrastructure, yeah, there we go. But if there was infrastructure in place, then surely the first thing that AEW would do is you go to the mayor's office and go, look, we have just delivered this and it sold 81,000 tickets. We think we can make this into a big kind of weekend. Is there anything that can be done in terms of like turning this into a big tourism attraction, trying to really capitalize on the buzz of it? And they didn't do anything. And I think it's because if you see what Nick Khan can do is political maneuvering. My God, he was meeting one of the guys from Saudi, wasn't he, at UFC and stuff. There was like a whole photos with him and Dana White and the rest. And you think, oh, okay, this is a guy who can do political maneuvering.
Wasn't there a director there as well? What's they called?
Oh, Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
He's shit,
Snyder edit, man.
Yeah. Oh God, no. He's wanted to do an edit of his film Rebel Moon. It's like, what? Did you not have creative control in the first place? It's like the films were shit, mate. I think that's the big takeaway on this. Not that you needed a 4-hour cut of it.
Hour too long.
I know. But it made me think there was that's a really big missed opportunity from AEW. They were wanting to do something like that, to say, actually, we are going to come here every single year. We're going to sell a certain amount of tickets. There's going to be a lot of tourists around. It'd be really great if they can have the mayor's office on board, get lots of press releases and everything else. Get bloody Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson stood with Sadiq Khan with a proper sized belt. Like, that's what it could have been.
This is what this is. It's a dick swinging contest. This is WWE trying to one-up AEW, because credit where it's due with AEW. I'd say for all the weaknesses of AEW, and Infrastructure is definitely one of them. I do think Tony Khan's relationships have paid off for them. His relationships with TV people, that has paid off in them getting the ITV deal over here, and it's going to pay off in them getting the greatest TV deal any company's ever going to have outside of WWE in history, that's going to keep them alive, for the next probably couple of decades. That's gigantic. And then I think, the other relationship he seems to have a lot of, it's venues, isn't it? And it's, like you said, through the Jags, it's through the relationships he's formed through his real sports ventures, that he has that. So they're two things, and that's two of AEW's biggest boosts, you could probably say, and two of the big things Tony Khan brings to the table. But this is WWE trying to one-up that and going, oh, you got those relationships? Well, how about this? Here's the fucking mayor. And the timing is not a coincidence. We are, like I said, just over 3 weeks away from AEW at Wembley. This is WWE trying to take the headlines, like Triple H, for all his Papa H stuff and being the friendly, uncle boss type of thing. He's still that petty cunt who will do petty cunt things, down to signing ex-AEW wrestlers and have them stand next to each other on NXT. All the way up to something like this. He's always got his nose pushed out of joint that AEW got a foothold in the market. See WrestleMania time when he was throwing shots at Will Ospreay for no good reason. He's aware of all this stuff. He's aware of this PR game. He's aware of the advantages WWE have and the massive lead that they've had over these last couple of years. And this is part of that. I think that's exactly what this is. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I mean, there is definitely a sort of, I hate to say it though, from the completely cynical business perspective, it's a good move for them to do. And if you think about it as well, when they get onto Netflix, they're going to have a much bigger reach than what AEW have within the UK market, because people aren't even going back on Sky Sports, TNT. Terrestrial TV outside of the large sporting events is, give or take, it's kind of dying a death, really. And sort of what we consider to be event TV, but it's a very Triple H move, isn't it, for him to do this? And again, like you say, it steals away the headlines. I noticed that, in terms of ticket sales for this, what are we looking at? Somewhere I know the last count was 42,500 or something along those lines. You're hoping that those tickets are going to start speeding up. I think there was conversations you had last week with Gareth and Matty about this, where it was it was saying how many people are sitting on the fence and waiting for tickets to sell, knowing that's to be the case. I was waiting for blue light tickets, mate. They went up and got sold out right away. There's a good stat for you, Tony Khan. Okay. Gone. It's the one place I've seen them. So do you want a good stat, JP? You know what I realised this week in researching for this show and getting those numbers up? SummerSlam, the way last year, the conversation in the lead up to Wembley, and like I say, WWE have squeezed this conversation a little bit, but it's a good segue here. The conversation was, is this going to be the biggest show ever? And we will put YouTube videos up. The top 10 attendances ever. Is AEW going to be number one? Wembley this year for AEW isn't going to be the best wrestling attendance this year, because SummerSlam's going to beat it. I don't know. Obviously, arenas and stadiums are different, but WWE in an arena is probably at SummerSlam this year going to do more numbers than All In at Wembley. Let that sink in. That's crazy, isn't it? Compare that to the conversations we were having last year about those numbers. Wow. And that's for a 2-night show.
Yeah, exactly. Like you say, yeah, for a 2-night show.
40,000 is still impressive, don't get me wrong. 50,000 impressive. The reason I know about it, the context is some fucking gobshite with a blue tick who was engagement farming tried to point out, well, you've got 6,000 tickets that are unsold for SummerSlam. I was like, yeah, you know, because that's what they've set up for in the arena they're running. It's the same number pretty much they did last year. Same with AEW though, isn't it? You know, they're gonna fill their allocation. It's just how big that allocation can stretch. And we should never let it get lost. That is genuinely impressive if they get to 50,000 or get near to what WWE is doing for SummerSlam this year. That's still genuinely impressive as a standalone number. It's just interesting the difference in conversation to last year when, like I say, 82,000 is the number we were talking about. We're talking about double the numbers now, and we were talking about it as a all-time kind of record. I don't think anything crystallizes the two companies' trajectories over the last 12 months like that, even if we still need to say, you know, how crazy it is.
And I would be pretty confident of the vast majority of those 6,000 tickets going. And they'll announce 60,000 because they don't even bother with attendance figures these days. They just sort of make up a fucking number.
Yeah, true. The made up WWE number is going to be insane. Yeah.
Exactly. But it is like, I mean, it is something about like the growth of SummerSlam in and of itself as a brand, where it's a regular stadium event. Last year they did 51,500 at Ford Field in Detroit. Like, they're going to obviously beat it for this one as well. And I suppose I try and remember in coming back from Egypt with an element of positivity, not toxic positivity. I'm not that kind. I'm never going to be that person. Of just thinking a challenger brand to WWE doing 50,000 is pretty fucking incredible for like any particular show.
That's WrestleMania numbers, you know.
It is WrestleMania numbers. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's just that when you compare it to last year and you're selling 81,000, it makes you go, right, well, there's 30,000 people who've decided not to come back. That's what, give or take, that's a third of your ticket sales, or more than a third of your ticket sales. That's kind of scary. That's something to look at.
The thing that shocks me most, and we've been keeping tabs on it, we're going to have a little chat about like Wembley and what we're thinking about the card. It'd be a nice way to catch up with you, JP, on your AEW thoughts over the last while. But like that Cardiff one, like I was joking about it, like they are going to sell them, but there's still almost 1,000 tickets available for that show, and it's only a 4,236 setup to be exact. They've shifted 3,000 tickets for it, but again, just say something about, you know, AEW cooling off a little bit. They'll probably sell those 949, but like, I can't, every time WrestleTix does an update on that, I'm like, all right, it'll be sold out now, won't it? It'll be close now. They'll be closer now. And they have apparently lowered some prices we found on last update. I think we talked about it on the weekend show the other week. But like, yeah, just looking at that map there that WrestleTix have hopefully put together, that's the one that I'm kind of tracking right now. I'm kind of knowing Wembley's going to be what it is. It's going to be somewhere in that 40 to 50,000 range, and there'll be a post-mortem to be had about like the differences compared to last year. But this one almost shocks me more.
This one shocks me. I was convinced it was going to sell out straight away. I know when it was first announced, I was like, oh, they'll sell it out. Looking at the map, what's scary about it is it's those higher price tickets. They're the ones that aren't shifting. All the cheap ones at the back, the vast majority of those are gone. But it's the ones in and around the ring where no doubt it's silly money and people are going, do I need to go and see this? Or should I just go and see the big show at Wembley? I'm not talking about Paul White either. It'll be Matty and his cousin Gary, and they'll be having a party about it, won't they? That'll be I know you were talking about that as well. That was when I think of the big show for that. But I'm shocked at this because this is the first time we've had a Dynamite in the UK, and it's a mid-sized arena. This isn't Co-op Live. This isn't like the Echo Arena or the MEN or anything else like that. Stuff that the Wembley Arena, even that's in that kind of high single digits of like sort of 7, 8, 9,000. This is an arena that holds at an absolute push with no kind of entranceway in it, like about 6,000. Like, this is like you're trying to flog 4,500 tickets and you're struggling to do that. That's not good. And if you're thinking about promotions for it, I mean, I think that there's a lesson to be learned here from them looking at it going, well, hang on a minute, we need to we need to think about is how do we make these events special? And I think that's the problem with this overall Dynamite in Cardiff. It doesn't feel special. It doesn't feel like they're not plugging it on AEW TV. I don't see them going, oh, and we got Dynamite there for All In week as well. And we're going to have this there. And we'll have these other tapings in there. But bloody hellfire.
And again, Steph says there, should have got the bet on it not being an early sellout. So that was kind of my inkling too. But again, I still think it's not. I don't think it's going to be embarrassing on the day. I think it's going to get close. But it's so interesting, like you say. Yeah, how often do we talk about it, JP? Not even sure I do Wembley next year. We always go, they should do an arena tour like TNA did. Cautions me a little bit. It just makes me think, maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't. Maybe it needs the All In branding to be the big Wembley occasion to get people off their asses a little bit. Or again, that's counting against it. There is a big show coming the weekend after, and people will have that. I mean, that's a problem with their own making. Logistically, they announced this at midnight. A couple of months out after everybody had already made the London plans, and they should bear the blunt of the brain for that as well. But yeah, it does absolutely say something about interest levels.
They've not put in the work. That's what I always come back to with all of this stuff. Like, they haven't put that work in locally. Stuff that WWE can do because they've got offices to be able to do it. And they're even doing it now with this. They're planting the seed of WrestleMania London in the head. We're talking about whether they get a SummerSlam or a Royal Rumble. We will hear about this a lot. We will see WWE wrestlers all over TV and doing advertising and everything else. We will not be able to fucking move for them. Whereas for AEW, it's not a sniff. Like, there's nothing here. Like, and you think to yourself, like, you really should be having people over there, even if it's appearing in the local markets, local TV in Cardiff, local radio, BBC Radio Wales. They should be doing stuff like that. And none of that exists. They don't do. That's not how AEW operates.
There's been some, but it's not beating you over the head right now. And it's not to the level you'd expect, is it? Especially this close out. But I don't even know how big a difference it's going to make at this point. Like, big talking point we had last year, JP, was like, the card's done out. You need a card to sell tickets. They've got the card out, and to be fair, tickets did jump a little bit, at last update on Wembley. They did feel like maybe payday came, maybe the fact that there's a little bit more, maybe it is that, maybe there's a definitive direction and we know what's going on and it's hit people. Fuck, this is a few weeks away. I better start getting tickets. So, they sold a couple of thousands at last WrestleTix check, but like you said, we're still in the low 42,000s or so. But what do you make of the card that he put together? Like, I would say it's a big positive this year, compared to last year. I think lessons have been learned. To make this, even if maybe it might actually make that big a difference, ticket-wise at this point, it's going to make a bit of a difference. And overwhelmingly, it's an investment thing. I always talk about that with AEW. And, I think it's something Tony Khan misses in his wrestling because we talked about it on the Invasion show. He's invested in everything going on in AEW. He's invested that Commander is on a, 3-match win streak and faced fucking, insert wrestler, the Beast Mortos fucking 2.5 years ago, and now it's the anniversary of that day. He knows all that. He's got that brain that's wired like that, and he's invested, but I don't think he always fully understands like the need for anticipation in wrestling and the need for, investment in stories and payoff and all of those little things that make, a match that's good on paper sell. Like, talking point I saw this week, like somebody like roll out, there was like a bit of an argument I was seeing going on Twitter. I know, my mistake going on Twitter, but it was like, oh, they need to get me invested in this Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland match because I'm way more into Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page right now. And I don't think that's an unreasonable take. I think that's fair enough. I think they've got time to get going with the Danielson thing. And I think there's an interesting story they're looking to tell. But yeah, tell that story, get me invested. And they're getting fucking bombarded by like the hardcore AEW fans going, oh, you need somebody to invest you in a Bryan Danielson match, you're a fucking idiot. And it's like, that just shows the divide absolutely crystal clear there. Match on paper is what matters to a lot of people. And I think it matters in a lot of ways to Tony Khan. Making that match on paper feel important and, make it feel like it feels like it should be on the biggest show of the year. I don't think that was done last year. I think they've maybe listened to that feedback last year and we're going to get that. I've still got, despite that talking point, I've got the confidence they're going to get there with Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland. I'm not entirely, sold on the way we've got to MJF and Ospreay, but we're going to get there, and we know it a few weeks out, and they're going to make that match, hopefully, feel important. It's a massive part of the puzzle, getting these matches out now and making us all feel like we're going to see the accumulation of something. We're going to see AEW's biggest show of the year. We're finally going to get to see Mariah May against Toni Storm. We're finally going to get to see Mercedes versus Britt Baker even. You might laugh, but that's a match that's massively anticipated. Anticipation's important, and I think they're baking some of that in, and I think that's a massive positive. Being able to talk about these matches and know they're coming 3.5 weeks out.
Oh, I'm completely in agreement with you. I mean, I think that's part of, as wrestling fans, this is the thing. It's not only is this going to be a good match? It's, am I excited to see this match? Am I invested in the storyline to the point where I will travel down and spend money to go and see it? And that's not a thing. I mean, they sold the tickets last year on almost like the proof of concept and the novelty value of them being in the UK and not having been here before. At Wembley, and it was just like, oh my god, we're going to see a non-WWE massive wrestling show at Wembley. That's insane. Let's see what happens. I think the problem lies in that, like, he still doesn't realize like what WWE get. And this is, it's funny listening to Gareth talk about watching Raw and everything else, all of the things for it. The thing that they do well is you come away with, I want to see this particular match. This match feels important for whatever reason.
The banging quarter hour, that Dominic Mysterio segment we were slagging off, to be fair to them. People are invested, They've been telling the story a long time, whatever we think of the story. We're a couple of months in and people are into it.
And matches for sickos only gets you so far. And it's not really going to work. Now, I would be in agreement with you. I think one of the fundamental problems, certainly from a wrestling fan perspective, as opposed to slightly less hardcore fans for AEW who are like wanting to see a kind of like a big event. For us, it's like, okay, looking at the 5 matches that have been announced on there, the 5 matches, there are reasons to be invested in all of them, pretty much. Even Jack Perry, Darby Allin.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for the bit where they go through glass. And they've done the work. At least that you may not like elements of the work. And there's stuff about, like, say, the MJF promo and everything else that I'm not necessarily a fan of. They've done the work in the build up to this show, and you're thinking, what's the biggest women's match they could put on? It's Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker. However, neither of them are the women's world champion. What's the biggest match we can do with Toni Storm? Well, you've got you've got Mariah May, who's been there, and it's been a long-term story they've built in, and Toni Storm is over. It's like, then it comes down to the kind of like the semantics of what do you do with the component parts of your bigger stars? So MJF, Will Ospreay, Swerve, Bryan Danielson, Hangman Page. What do you do with them? What combination of those is going to be big? And I would be, if there's a match I'm more excited about, it'd be Swerve versus Hangman. I was
going to ask about
like
that.
A kind
Me
of,
too. And I'm intrigued that that'll be an all-out match. I honestly believe that. I'm buying that's their way of doing the 2 pay-per-views. Okay, you get like more big matches on All In, but All Out has the big match that everyone's, in fairness to them, talking about investment, massively invested in.
Yeah, but I think if you're going to have someone else fill into the mix, and you're telling a very different story, like, because the story about Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson is less about Swerve Strickland, and it's more Bryan Danielson final year as a full-time active wrestler, and is he going to be able to do it? So it's kind of like the Jeff Jarrett story of like the kind of beaten down veteran who's going for one last run at the title, except you're doing it with the man you yeah, exactly. But at least you're finally doing it with Bryan Danielson, a man who has, let's face it, he's got previous for selling lots of tickets to a show and being the main man at like a WrestleMania.
I didn't include it in the topics this week, but I did note it as like a news story. Did you see he's trademarked? Yes, he's taking that back.
Good man.
When he first came into AEW and he was like, "Oh, out of respect for the Fed, I'm not going to do it." He's leaning into it now. I could see that being a big thing at Wembley. Trying to get that over and reclaim his big catchphrase, get back to where he should have been. That's the whole time with AEW as a top.
He'd also, from a sending people over to come over on tour, he should be one of the guys that you're absolutely sending over. Why? Because he's a normal guy and this is a normal story, and he can say, I've been wrestling for this long, like I'm this beaten up, I've got my young kid. You know, you can go in, you can play a lot into real life with that, and that stuff actually connects. That's the stuff I always think that's like that's the bigger kind of like intangible to be able to sell that. So I'm kind of, if you're not doing Swerve Hangman, I am fine with Bryan Danielson being in there. That's not like to slight that, and he'll sell it. It's just and he's smart enough to know how to sell that as well.
Yeah, MJF you're gonna tie him down and be like, "Mate, take this one seriously," but he will. And if we're getting the inklings of that now, where I say, "Oh, I've been told by the doctor I shouldn't wrestle till a match," we're gonna get more of that story, aren't we? Where it's like it dawns on this is his big chance, and hopefully we get a Jeff match along the way. I was saying that on Weekend Show. Do that at Butland's if you're gonna do it. Or I suppose you could do it in Cardiff. Either way, that'd be. I'd love to see Jeff and Brian work a family show in the UK. That's my dream. A couple of the great family show workers of all time. A couple of great carnies.
I mean, Jeff versus Brian. Like, where you do that is like Tennessee, and you do it as a Jeff Jarrett retirement match. Or Okada. Jeff versus Okada.
Cardiff.
Oh, Cardiff. Right. Okay. I thought he said Jeff versus Okada. I thought that's wild, and I thought Jeff will be putting in the effort there.
He's not lasting 40 minutes.
No, he isn't as well. And I don't see Okada being bothered to do 40 minutes. I'm assuming we're getting Hangman Okada after Blood and Guts.
I think so too. I think that'll come clear on Dynamite this week. That seems to be the direction. Quite excited for Hangman and Darby Allin this week, but I assume that we won't spend too much time on that. But I'm expecting something to go on there with the Elite. But yeah, it's rounded out nicely, and like that is a good. Whatever you put on the undercard, you can get away with multi-mans now. I don't think I'm going to moan when they go, "Oh, there's a 6-man tag with whoever." It's like, all right, okay, now we're in getting people on the card mode, because I think the main characters are taken care of here for the most part. Like you said there, even MJF Ospreay. Like, I feel bad last week because I think there were people who loved that MJF Ospreay match, and I think I expected at least one of us to like it, and we didn't. I'm sorry. It was fine. It wasn't bad. It was just, I didn't feel the love that everyone else did. Don't you think it's a weird way to get to that match, though? Like, I think it's the right call. We were talking the other week about the possibility of Ospreay facing Pac. Wouldn't have done that. Ospreay Ricochet, you could have sold it, but I wouldn't have done that. These are just two top. Whether I loved MJF or not, we got another story with him in a minute. He's a top-level character in AEW. Ospreay's a top-level player in AEW, and they should wrestle each other. Weird way to get to it, though, isn't it? To be in the 1-hour big match and then get there as a rematch, and it's all about rah-rah USA versus UK. I presume that was an MJF pitch, but strange way to get to maybe the right match, I'd say.
It is, isn't it? And it's taken another left field turn with MJF being a Rev Pro at York Hall to face Michael Oku as well, which is tying into all of this, and you're wondering, well, how's that going to play into the overall direction of it as well at the same time? That's kind of slightly wacky. I think it bodes well for some of the other AEW wrestlers who aren't going to perhaps be on Wembley in featured roles, that they're going to be on the 12th anniversary show. I think that hopefully would be the case there, but it's a weird one. It's like they're going to have an hour-long match. It's like, well, where do you go from that? It's like you don't really want Will Ospreay doing a like hardcore match or anything else, or one of those kind of like feud-ending type matches, because that's not the best use of Will Ospreay for how you get to use it. So, and you don't want him to do another hour-long match because fucking hell, that's going to be that's going to be draining.
Yeah, they won't do that.
Don't do any of that stuff. So it was a weird way to do it. And like I said, they're going down this kind of patriotic route, which I think I'm more inclined to kind of forgive that stuff, because it's like, well, at least you've bothered to put two of the guys who aren't world champion facing each other, rather like they're going to do with Hangman and Okada. At least there is that, like, and trust me, I've got reservations, particularly because of like just how Okada's been since he's been in AEW. But I at least like the idea that you're viewing this as a place where top people meet each other. This is where we do this. We're not fucking around. By the way, I can also say I don't want the tag belts defended on this show. If I was being hinted at FTR, I went, no, Stadium Stampede. Just do some silly shit in the Stadium Stampede. I do not care.
I'll be at the bar, mate, and that's crazy to say, but it's after last time. But maybe it is after last time they want to put that right, and the Bucks won't do a heat killing crap open to their song like they did last year. Maybe all the minds will be on it compared to last year. I don't know. Maybe give them an excuse for. I assume the Acclaimed will be involved in that in some way. Maybe some kind
of four-way tag.
Yeah, it tells you there isn't much going on with AEW's tag division, doesn't it? It is a bit of a weak spot that we've circled back around to that. But yeah, any other thoughts on the card before we get to the MJF story, JC?
I've started looking at tickets as a result of this card. It's kind of
Martin bought his last week. I think we scared him with our, we're all going to be stood outside on StubHub worries.
Exactly. I was a bit worried, but I think this, like, in terms of the build from a match perspective, it kind of says what the TV has for the most part been, which is generally like very good and focused.
More and good than bad for at least 2 months now. Like, been a couple of Dynamites I haven't loved as much as ever. Last two, to be honest, I haven't loved as much as everybody else. But there's clear, massive positives. Saying that Blood and Guts was way better than I expected it to be. In fact, if anything, I'd say it was the best Blood and Guts they've ever done. Damn them with faint praise, but I was praising that on the weekend show. I was lower on MJF Ospreay than most, but still good Dynamite. And then every other week, I've been pretty much on weekend show raving about Dynamite. And there was other good stuff on Dynamite this week too.
Yeah, and they're sticking the course. Like if they'd stuck the landing on Blood and Guts. I think that's the problem of the last 2 weeks having hour-long matches that kind of then dictate you're cramming in a lot of stuff into the other hour of TV.
Help the number, though, when it matters.
It did help the number, and that's what they've got to look at. And this, particularly going into negotiations, which I'm sure they were watching Simone Biles and the gymnastics tonight between David Zaslav and Tony Khan, putting numbers alongside to each other there. It's been the smart play for them to do that. So I'm looking forward to. I think this is going to be a hell of a show, a hell of a wrestling show there. What the number is for it, and hopefully it will start to pick up for them as much as anything else. But I think this is the problem of that first time to make a big impression. And imagine if they treated the first All In like this. They'd seen the numbers and went, right, we've just got to put big matches on this. We have got to fucking deliver an absolute knockout pay-per-view rather than spending a week in Nick Wayne's fucking barn outside his house 3 weeks before the show. But it was not the time or place. That was the kind of shit you can do in fucking May or whatever. But
well, you mentioned it before, and speaking about it, not the only show going on Wembley weekend. That was one of our talking points last year. Is Rev Pro going to have the show of Wembley weekend? And the Copper Box is certainly coming together. But on the road to the Copper Box, as you mentioned, MJF's doing a Rev Pro date. There you go. I was confused. Why did MJF win the formerly international title and now it's the US title? It's because he's going to fulfill his dreams of apparently going to CMLL and coming to Rev Pro and working Michael Oku. I was not expecting this at the weekend when Rev Pro announced it in Coventry with the little video of MJF. But Oku MJF, which is it's one of those ones where it's a political nightmare in that Oku has got he's their champion, he's got the big title match coming up at a Copper Box. MJF has got the big Ospreay match coming up. I don't know how you navigate your way out of that finish. My guess would be maybe MJF's not the only AEW wrestler we see at York Hall, and we see Ospreay as well, and probably Luke Jacobs gets involved on the Oku side as well. But if you're Rev Pro, you fucking snap the fingers off with this, don't you? This is absolutely going to sell at York Hall. When it first seemed like there was something coming at York Hall for Rev Pro, you had to imagine they had something big coming. But hopefully the relationship continues and we get maybe something, something AEW at the Copper Box. There's a big hole in that in the women's title match. But MJF at York Hall. Who knew, JP? Finish the story, JP. This is finishing the story of you going upstairs and trying to chat to him and basically telling you to fuck off at a York Hall show about 4 years ago. So maybe you can finish that one, mate. We'll see you then on the 11th at York Hall.
If he tries to speak to me, I'm just going to stare through him like he did to me when he completely blanked me when I went upstairs to see him and Tony.
Do you think you'll go? Because if you go, and I might consider it now. I was actually already.
I am certainly sold on the idea of it. I've got the time.
I might have a cancelable hotel booked on the sly for if we're shooting here on AJP. Can I talk you into it? It's Garrett's birthday, mate. You can't think of anything better Garrett could do on his birthday. Come on, Garrett.
I'm trying to think of this as well. This would be like the kind of the problem is we're meant to be recording as you would have heard at the start.
It's only Carl. It can be on Saturday.
He'll move that to Saturday instead. We'll do that instead.
Monday. Carl and Matty can do it. It'll be fine.
But I am sold on this because it feels like it's going to be eventful. It's obviously it's a big boost to Rev Pro to be able to use. I'm assuming there's a double purpose for having MJF over, which is for him to do the talk show circuit. And him to start selling the pay-per-view. And if Ospreay's over, the pair of them doing that. Now, it makes me fear they're going to do an angle in front of Ed Balls on Good Morning Britain or something like that and make me go, oh, God, what's happened here? But that would be a good use of him there as well. I mean, fucking hell, like, you're not going to turn that down. That's like it's the political nightmare, isn't it? It's notable. It's for the AEW American Championship. It's not for the Rev Pro belt. So therefore, you can't really have MJF lose, but at the same time, you don't want Oku losing as well. You can have lots and lots of bells and whistles, and whether or not MJF's willing to take a fall after Will Ospreay interferes and causes him to lose, but it's for that title, so he's not going to lose. So that's my only kind of reservations. Is it's the booking conundrum that come up. How do you get around this stuff in there in the meantime? But from a purely ticket selling perspective and to increase hype for the 12th anniversary show, it's as good a get as you're going to get.
Proper York Hall show looking as well. Like I say, it was proper weird. It was like they're running York Hall before Wembley, 2 weeks before. But like you look up and down the Scott. Discord got it right. It was like, this feels like an old school Rev Pro card. Trevor Lee on there against Luke Jacobs, Donovan Jarjak, Robbie Axe, Ricky Knight Jr., Zazaya, Leon Slater versus Jack Cartwheel is the most fucking random thing ever. But I like that. I'll be into that one. Obviously Gideon Gray and Dan McGee doing a match in memory of James Castle. Love that being on the show as well. Rev Pro putting the best foot forward. This is, the negative might be Oku takes a hit on the way to Copper Box. I hope not. But the positive's going to be Eyes of the World on them, isn't it? I imagine the footage ends up on Dynamite, and it's a nice little push for the Copper Box show. I'd like to talk myself into it, AJ, but we'll have to talk offline. We'll figure out. We'll celebrate Garrett's birthday for him, whether he comes or not. Maybe.
I'm lucky as well because Vicky, going to Rev Pro, Vicky wouldn't be going to AEW wouldn't hold much interest to Vicky and the kids, whereas going to Rev Pro does. Going to Rev Pro is actually something that she feels like, oh no, I kind of like them. I like them as a promotion. I like the kind of stuff that they put on there as well, and it's good signs for the relationship. Like they've waited a long time to be able to do this, but it's good signs. Like you say, they'll be able to use some of the footage on Dynamite as well. All of these things help. And they all help in the build-up to shift a few more tickets for the Copper Box show, which if you are going to the Copper Box, you might as well come along and see us live beforehand there as well. So maybe there's a double-ended, there's a dual purpose going on there, isn't there? So if you just go to grapple.bigcartel.com and get yourself a ticket there before going along to the Copper Box as well, because no doubt there'll be more AEW superstars along the way who are coming over. But it's a whatever way you look at it, like booking stuff be damned, this is a hell of a business move. And again, and if it ties in that MJF's just in the country because he's going to be on TV and everything else, well, fucking use him on a wrestling show. And he'll dick about. He'll do other stuff. He'll bring up the Euro Cup as well, which, I mean, you might as well bring up the Europa League then in that case, which I don't know if that's going to mean anything to anyone there in the ground. But it's a really good sign. So I was, when I saw that being announced, I was like, good work.
Definitely wanted to talk about that as a major topic. Just as a quick minor one that we've kind of got down on the side. It might turn into a major topic, but while we're talking a bit of AEW, what do you make of the, and speaking of MJF, what do you make of the Daniel Garcia stuff? Couple of sources now. Obviously, our friend Ibu of Wrestle Purist was kind of the one to break this, and now Brian Alvarez following up on the Observer about Garcia's contract status with AEW. Apparently, when they did the big angle with MJF, the big angle that it was enough to make MJF go against everything that he'd ever done with Daniel Garcia. was actually them hedging, and the idea was they did the angle in case you have to write off Daniel Garcia from AEW TV and he doesn't re-sign his contract is up, or if he does sign, well, we come back and we get a big match with MJF. This coming around the same time that we're seeing reports of apparently Ray Phoenix's AEW contract set to expire this year too. But yeah, maybe start with Daniel Garcia. JP, any thoughts on that? What do you think he should do? Steph's big on he should just go to NXT. I'm not 100% on that, but then in this environment where, as I said, Triple H and Shawn Michaels are quite petty, and you basically get a push just to show those AEW lot how it's really done, he might actually be in a good spot if he went over to that side. Even if stylistically, I would always say AEW is a better fit for a wrestler like Daniel Garcia. But yeah, any thoughts on that? Did seem an odd one when they did the angle with Garcia.
It did seem an odd one. I mean, am I surprised? I can't say I'm that surprised, because if you're asking me where I think he should go, I'd say NXT. That's instinctively what I think he should do, because he's young, so he immediately fits what they want for people in NXT. They want people who are going to, be able to develop. Is he going to develop as a top tier promo in AEW? I don't think so. I think he's got a better chance of developing those kind of things in NXT for what they want and becoming that kind of his style and how he wrestles and everything else. I'm less worried about that kind of like stylistic clash. I think he can get around that in NXT because he's good enough and he's worked enough TV at this point. I mean, them hedging their bets, I think is actually probably partly the canniest way. I don't think AEW goes to pieces if Daniel Garcia leaves. I think we have to accept the fact that some people are going to leave, and they're going to leave simply because it's a good career decision for them. And he spent a lot of his time spinning his, just basically sitting on his backside, not having to do a whole lot for a long period of time. And who's to say after an MJF feud, that's not what he goes back to doing anyway? And if rumours are to be believed, he wouldn't be the only person who would have signed a contract there and immediately started regretting, perhaps, oh, shit, maybe I shouldn't have done this. There's other people who fall into that camp as well. So there's that part of me thinks he should go to NXT. By all accounts, he's got plenty of backers as well within WWE. And he hasn't got, and because he's so young, this isn't a guy who's gone out. It's not like, WCW or ECW where they're just slagging off WWF the whole time. He wouldn't have said anything that would have remotely upset them. And he kind of fits the USP for what they want on NXT. Plus, they're moving to a new station. They've had a lot of talent get called up to the main roster. They do need to kind of refresh and replenish around the top line division anyway. Garcia's as good a fit to go in there as anyone. And I'd say the same thing for Ray Phoenix. And I see this hologram bloke and I'm like, you've already got a couple of cracking luchadors and you do fuck all with them. Why am I seeing fucking, as you said, blood runs cold instead there as well? It's before waste of time. You've got Ray Phoenix.
I was going to say on Garcia, I just think for me, he's been so. It's like Wheeler Eater, start, stop. This is going to be the one that gets them over, and it never is. And he was trapped in the Jericho verse for so long. All the fucking good that did him. We never got the big payoff to that for him. He just kind of rejoined the stable, and then the stable disappeared. And then every now and then, Tony Khan remembers he exists and gives him a 5-week push. Feels like that push that didn't end up in him getting a match in Buffalo. Ended up getting the match the week after and doing this angle instead. Felt like Tony Khan maybe giving him a Hail Mary. No, I believe in you. I'm gonna push you finally. If I was him, I'm not sure I'd believe it. And I do think in 2 years ago, I would have said no, not a chance. Stick with AEW, mate. Get them to put the ROH title on you. Got a story on that in a minute, but do that instead. But in this environment, like I say, it's not the place WWE right now where they bring AEW guys in and job them out to prove a point. They bring AEW guys in and they fucking push them to prove a point. Ethan Page is the NXT champion. You know what I mean? Like, Jade Cargill has been arguably better presented in WWE than she ever was in AEW, even if she's still shitting the bed in ring a lot of the time. Like, if you're Daniel Garcia and you're looking at that, and if anyone's advising him, that's probably what they're telling him. This would be good for you, mate. And I do think he'd just carry on that roundabout in AEW. Which side do I want to see him in? I mean, he'd have better matches in AEW. Everyone does. But actually, if I'm a invested Daniel Garcia fan, and like you said, I want to see him develop, I want to see him get better at the things he's not great at, it might turn out that that's a good decision for him. Even if me personally would rather watch him have a sickos match on Collision. And yes, Steph says here in the chat he's still young and he's got time to take the risk. He's always big on the Daniel Garcia train. Obviously, constantly little brother. Steph puts that here. That's been his role in AEW this entire time. So yeah, wouldn't surprise me if he goes the other way. And to answer it on Fenix, I mean, that one's different for me. Daniel Garcia, there's been missed opportunities, but I don't look at it and go, well, there's all this money left on the table. It's like, they fucked up, and maybe now it's time for him to leave the territory, if you're him. Phoenix, I do think it's been a fuck up, because I love bringing it up because we always mention it. Remember when we were high off our own supply on how great AEW is? A bit like Progress, mate. We never learn these lessons until it's too late. But remember when we were like, Progress tell great stories, they do really good. We should have patience for these stories. Oh, what's the great stories Progress have ever told? Well, there's Will Ospreay versus Redacted, and then we'd all sit there and go, actually, no, maybe they haven't got this track record we should trust them with. I kind of feel like that happened with Phoenix, where we were like, oh, no, we'll get there. There was honestly a point early in AEW, it's like, oh, this could be your Rey Mysterio. That's a lazy comparison, but this could be your, upper mid-card main event type guy. We honestly talked about him, like, it sounds ridiculous now, but we talked about it like he could be like a proper player in AEW. And obviously over attrition of 3 years of him being interchangeable with Pentagon, despite with the other Lucha guys, and constantly stuck to the side of Pentagon, and in this tag team that was somehow lesser than the sum of its parts. Because again, Penta's another one. We all thought Penta could be, if you presented them in a certain way, a big star in AEW that they could print merch money with. Instead, he's kind of like a lesser than in this tag team. Sticking Alex Abrahantes, my favourite boo boy, and you end up with an act that's far less cool than it should be, which is just again another marketing thing. Maybe that's not important to people, but I do think it's an important little thing in your presentation. And now it's just accepted that Phoenix is a mid-card tag wrestler in AEW, and the Lucha Brothers aren't they a cool little act anyway. We don't talk about them when it comes to people who could be big stars in AEW. Like, I do think there was a missed opportunity with Phoenix. I'm not saying he was going to be world champion, but I do think he could have been a push commodity as a singles guy and something different than what he's been. Wouldn't shock me if he walks Penta too.
I wouldn't blame him. And I think there's an example of that happened this past weekend. Arena Mexico doesn't sell out easily. Even with a big buzz in CMLL, it sold out. It sold out for him and Penta in CMLL. And I think it was less about Pac. That was a big deal. There was a big deal seeing those guys. And they felt like big stars in there. And it just made me think, it's like a lot of the times when it comes to like which wrestlers you push, you look at sometimes it's quite a reductive way of looking at things, of saying, okay, what is the niche audience that this wrestler appeals to? We're going to push this wrestler based on them bringing in this audience. But it's proven to work time and again. And Rey Mysterio is obviously the greatest example of that. But you have that in Rey Fenix, someone who was young and spectacular, and we saw him have absolutely ridiculous match. I'm thinking of Ospreay when he was in Wolverhampton, and Walter / Gunter for WXW as well. And just thinking, this guy is just he's fucking incredible. Imagine what he would do with a bit of a big focus. I mean, AEW
and presented as special. And not just another interchangeable guy who's managed by Alex Abrahantes, like every other Lucha guy seems to be in AEW. Presentation matters. We know Phoenix is better than all those guys you can list that Abrahantes follows out, but he's not presented differently than they are, and that's important in wrestling. And I do think, again, we're not WWE homers here. Matty's not here, but I do think they'd put that turn attention in it. And hopefully in this modern WWE recognise it. Although there are, many stories like that where they've tried to get guys over and to do lucha things and be the next Rey Mysterio, and then they go, you know what, we still got Rey Mysterio at home, let's just bust him out, even though he's 85 and got 2 fucked knees, although he looks fucking great himself at this point. I suppose there's cautionary tales there, but there is something about it where I think, again, they polish him up and present him in a certain way if he ended up over there. Or like you said, he could just make, money doing his own thing. Maybe he takes another path, who knows? But I know the peso is not great, but there could be another path.
I think the pair of them end up in WWE. I think, do you know, for another simple reason, imagine how much merch money they would have from just selling their masks.
Yeah.
Just that alone, as a simple, small thing, something that would, I assume, has never happened in AEW. Being able to get a Ray Fenix mask. Well, if you're in WWE, don't worry about that, mate. You'll be able to flog plenty of those because they'll be having that all over Shop Zone adverts and everything else, and they'll be able to shift that kind of stuff and make him feel important rather than a guy who was in a tag team and then they just fell away because they were in a pointless fucking like trios team. And although maybe I've seen the best use of trios this weekend, as no doubt we'll get into in a couple of minutes.
This is the thing when you talk about like those missed opportunities, like you don't have everyone forever, do you? And it's always like, well, that push will come tomorrow, that big Phoenix run will come tomorrow. It just might never come because we wasted many years of like that a going nowhere trios stable instead. But yeah, that kind of covers that. I guess we'll keep an eye on what comes with those two as free agents move around. But where do you want to go to next, JP? We've got the SummerSlam card here. We've got the ROH possible rebrand. Maybe go there. Maybe it fits the got the G1 to talk about as well, but we're excited as Dave Meltzer seems to be to talk about that in the last couple of weeks. But actually, there's some good things to talk. To be fair, we'll catch up on that as well. But yeah, do you want what you make of the ROH? Obviously, it's pictured behind you there. We're not going to do a full pay-per-view review at this point, but we can talk some highlights and lowlights of the card. But like what kind of caught my eye was the Tony Khan floating the idea of a potential rebrand for not my ROH, JP. Definitely not my ROH. This is more like my ECW, mate. WWE ECW, as he apparently wants to possibly rebrand ROH as AEW Ring of Honor. Obviously, this is just Tony Khan talking out loud at the post-show presser, and it's a quote that a lot of people have ran with at the media scrum, but he's probably saying it for a reason. Obviously the relationship with WBD has not resulted in ROH getting pride of place on their network. It was notable that the build to the ROH pay-per-view last weekend, Glory by Honor, no, Supercard of Honor, who knows, something of Honor coming up last weekend, Death Before Dishonor, probably with that one. But the build to that, you'd be forgiven for not knowing the name because it was non-existent on AEW TV. And maybe for good reason. When they overloaded the AEW TV with ROH wrestlers a couple of years ago, it was a gigantic source of complaint from podcasts quite like ours, and it seemed like it was an issue for WBD because that's pretty much stopped. You get a little bit of a reference. Mark Briscoe didn't even come up with the ROH belt last week. That kind of shows you how they're not a big fan of Tony Khan plugging his extra product on their network. But if you throw the letters AEW in front of it, as Dave Meltzer has often said, maybe a WBD gets a little bit warmer. Maybe, as Steph asked Tony Khan in the pre Death Before Dishonor junket, she did ask him, will ROH be part of that possible TV deal with WBD? And Tony Khan did kind of talk that possibility up. Maybe it's an easier sell if you do that, even if it does make old school ROH fans like me spinning our figurative graves.
I think I hate myself for saying this. I think it needs that AEW branding on it because what it needs is a TV outlet. Because in its current form, and this is not to say that I didn't enjoy or I suppose I didn't really dislike anything on the show, and I generally had quite a fun time watching Death Before Dishonor. But it was like
actually a candidate in there for me.
Yeah, it was like, but some ways afterwards I went, well, kind of what's the point though? Why should I be invested in this? It's not on TV. I'm not fucking subscribing to Honor Club. I think on a general point of principle, I don't have time. like
until I get the entirety of 2004 ROH on there, I'm not subscribing either. That's my point of contention. Not happy about that. It's no better than when Sinclair had it on a club, unfortunately. No. There's loads of holes still. It's like, I know it's a hard job to do, but they've just never got round to doing the job. Torrent to your friend when it comes to the ROH back catalogue, sorry to say.
But the fact they've paid all this money for it as well, they should have been thinking, okay, logically, what do we do with this property? How do we treat this? Let's get the back catalogue up on there. That would be the easiest thing to do in the world. They had CM Punk, they had Danielson, they had all the people who are big stars in Ring of Honor. Why don't they have those people come out and start giving like sort of talking head interviews about what it was like in kind of classic Ring of Honor, sort of building up that brand name? Really, I think the rise of NXT over the last few months and what NXT has become in terms of that feeder league is really what Ring of Honor should be for AEW. Because if it was a TV product, you think to yourself, okay, WWE have just got $70 million a year for that to go onto CW. And it looks like a bargain investment in today's mad media landscape. And so you think to yourself, okay, we've got our own NXT here. We call it Ring of Honor. It's more wrestling focused. I think, it should be like, and this is the problem, like we've mentioned this with Daniel Garcia and even Ray Fenix to a degree. I watch a lot of Ring of Honor and I go, this person should be on NXT. That's where they should be. They should be developing on NXT, but in front of kind of hotter crowds. And WWE have sort of turned it round in the sense it's not going to be really as a NXT as a product that I kind of love. But you think to yourself, they do good numbers when it comes to the pay-per-views. You were at one, the PLEs. Does like good attendance every once in a while. Does decent TV ratings for what they produce. And they use, like for the most part, largely unheralded talent with a few veterans thrown into the mix. It's kind of common sense, and it's laying the groundwork of when these people are called up to the main shows, they mean something. They have this whole back catalogue, and because there's no Vince McMahon around the place, there's a through line in the thinking. So everything logically makes sense. And you think, well, that's what Ring of Honor should be, but it needs that TV outlet for it to kind of mean something. And I think when watching this, I was thinking, God, if they could use that esports stadium for like Ring of Honor, like all the time as being like their performance center or some variant of that, like that actually kind of looks halfway decent for TV, they can sell the amount of tickets they need to, then it could be like something that could be kind of quite fun. And I think, as Steph said this as well, most importantly, have someone not called Tony Khan booking it. Like, just so it feels somewhat different there as well. I think if, like, it was, like, the big question is there room for another one of these kind of mid-sized, well-produced wrestling TV? And I think if you're doing it, like, if you're Warner Brothers Discovery and you're losing the NBA, because they are losing the NBA, they're not going to beat Amazon in this fight, then they kind of could do with something like that. Even if it's on Max, if it's on one of the smaller channels, they could do with a product like that just because they've got the rights to it and they'll be able to push it and they'll get some pay-per-view revenue back in there as well. I think they could go another way to what NXT do and make it a much more reality-based promotion where you're telling the story of these younger wrestlers trying to make a breakthrough on a bigger stage. I think you could get something there for it as well. But in this current trajectory, it's a zombie company. That produces some fun pay-per-views, but it's still a zombie company.
That's the issue. There's no USP for ROH. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. And I don't love this, but it tells me that I think the decision's been made. I think it's got to be part of this WBD deal. And to make that work, we'll just throw the letters AEW in front of it, and all of a sudden, like, Warner executives are like, oh, that's cool. Isn't that cool? That's another AEW show. We'll throw that in with our programming. Whereas apparently the letters ROH scared them. I wish they'd gone the other way. I do wish. Don't credit Joey Janela often, but when he pitched the idea of like, no, this should be, like GCW running those types of venues, and it should be the indie in the Northeast that, Tony Khan owns it and bankrolls it, but you get all this new talent on and has this USB. Maybe there's reasons not to go that direction, but just something that gave it an identity and made it not feel like just AEW's fucking D brand, which is what ROH feels like the majority of the time. That was another quote in the Tony Khan presser. Oh, we're going to give ROH some TLC. Oh, are we, mate? We've heard that before. But I think maybe it's actually true in that instead of going that direction, which is my preference, they're going the other direction, and it's just going to be more MOAR AEW TV, and that might make sense from a business point of view for the TV deal. It doesn't necessarily appeal to me because it'll be we got Dynamite, which could potentially go 3 hours. That's a terrifying thought. Rampage, we'll have Collision, could be a 3 hour block on Saturdays with Rampage and Collision, and then maybe ROH fits in where Rampage was before. Fucking a lot of AEW branded telly. That's always been my pushback to Dave Meltzer's kind of take, that it should be more AEW. It's like, yeah, but then it's more AEW and it's not its own distinct thing, so why would I fucking watch it? It's just dragging things out even more. How many of our listenership are still watching Rampage? I don't think many at this point. It falls even less important than that at that point, but it just might make the business sense to do it, and I guess it's better than trundle along where it is now.
I think the NXT model is the one for them to look at, where they've got like a regular home base, even though it's WWE NXT. For wrestling fans, we think of it as NXT. It's WWE, but it's different, and it's booked slightly differently as well. And again, these are the things. How do you make it different? How do you make it slightly distinctive? Like, these are all bigger problems. But I mean, let's not kid ourselves. If Tony Khan hadn't bought Ring of Honor, it would be fucking dead already. We wouldn't be having this conversation. It would just be a scramble for who bought the TV.
The NXT, mate. Next. Maybe Triple H would have rebranded. Maybe Shawn Michaels was a DVD buyer in the mid-2000s. He might have, instead of NXT 3.0, it could have been a Ring of Honor. Who knows?
Yeah, it could have been, couldn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, I suppose on that note, talking about that and what it could be, it shouldn't be lost in the conversation. It was a really great pay-per-view that they put on over the weekend. Like, I don't, again, like Rampage, are people going to find time in the schedules to get to it? Maybe people are going to pick and select. Like, someone was asking on the Discord which matches should I watch. And I listed the ones that I'd seen so far to that point, and couple of people said, actually, mate, what you should do is watch the whole pay-per-view, because the whole pay-per-view was great, and it really was. It was very, very enjoyable as a show. But that's the thing with ROH, isn't it? Like, we're never gonna, say that there's not a fantastically talented roster there. There is. Tony Khan's got an embarrassment of riches when it comes to wrestlers. They don't all get the focus they should get. They don't all get the placement they should get. But you give them 15 minutes on a pay-per-view with a decent crowd, this ad, and they're gonna go out there and kill it. There was a lot to love about this pay-per-view, JP.
I apart from my usual complaint, because I watched the 0 hour as well, which really I shouldn't have done. Like, that was because there was in total 13 matches on this, and the main show nearly ran 4 hours in and of itself. But didn't feel like it, to be
fair. The main show, I didn't really notice. Didn't watch a lot of them.
Like you, it'll be one of the best cards we'll see this year, just in terms of like a card that had a bit of everything, a lot of matches over delivered. Looking particularly at the one that's the image behind me, if I move slightly out of the way, of Layla Hirsch doing a backdrop on Diamante to a barbed wire table. Fuck me, that was great. I thought it started badly with the sort of really soft chair shot exchange. I was like, oh shit, and then fuck me, it escalated.
For the type of match you see way too often in AEW, tiny flies flying around it, it's doing my head in. I've got the window open. That's always a problem. But like, other than the fact that it's not even as hot up north as it is down south, even the fact that they do too many of these matches, they do. There's so many. It's like we're a Rampage feud ender between X and Y, and it's like, fuck, I didn't even know they were feuding. And it'll be a death match, Texas death match, or whatever they call it that week. They'll come up with some name, and they don't seem to mean much. I kind of almost half rolled my eyes going into that, thinking, we've seen a million of them. It's another Texas death match. I do have a soft spot for Layla Hirsch. I haven't seen her in there. WXW all those years ago, and I kind of wanted to do well and wanted to live up to the potential she showed in those years. I didn't expect much in there with Diamante, but that's the one I'm talking about when I say about a potential match of the year candidate, because I don't know whether it was the creativity of the spots or the kind of the sense of danger that you kind of got with it. It was a bit like the sense of danger you got in that NXT ladder match that I was there live for. I was there at a Heatwave for the fucking. But the sense of danger was more just you thought like these women aren't fully trained and they're gonna kill each other. Is kind of what I got over that weekend. This was like a proper like controlled sense of danger, but just a little bit of where you convince yourself, fucking hell, they're pushing this a little bit too far and trying to keep up with the reputation of this type of match. And I thought, Diamante was great for a part, and Layla Hirsch showed what we were high on her, for 3-4 years ago at this point, JP.
Yeah, I was really happy to see Layla Hirsch have a cracking showing.
Nice definitive win for her as well.
It was, but Diamante doesn't lose anything at all. If anything, you come out talking about the pair of them, and you think to yourself, just looking at the way, like in particular, like Layla Hirsch, where she came in at a time when there wasn't a lot of the free agency signings from WWE weren't releasing people, so you had to kind of like pick up a lot of rough diamonds and see what stuck. And she has a look and she has a style and a feel to her, which is very, very rough around the edges. But there's something there. I think what we said at the time was put her in Team Taz, because that was still a thing. God, that feels like that could have happened 20 years ago. But that was like always the most common sense thing in the world. Why? Because Taz was a great template to use for what to do with Layla Hirsch. Like, not very tall, but fucking like, tough and built like a brick shithouse and can throw people around. And like you say, it wasn't like the kind of reckless, scary, they shouldn't be trying these kind of spots. It was more that it was like, Jesus, they're going absolutely all out here to make an impression. And they did. And like, I mean, my first comment I wrote down here on my notes was, this was so much better than it had any right to be, and impressively violent. Like,
and I realized I got the Money in the Bank women's ladder match mixed up with the matches that were on NXT. They all had the same problem. They absolutely did. But yeah,
that was scary though. Yeah,
scary in the wrong way for me. But this was the highlight of the show for me. I'd probably go 4 to 4.25 on it. Really like that. The other match I really liked on the undercard, Commander and Beast Mortos. I had to blank out off my screen so I wouldn't see me Mortal Enemy Alex Abrahantes on it. But Beast Mortos, it's a running joke, or what a fuck. It might as well be called the Base Mortos, but like, what a fucking base he is. How good is he? I don't even rate Commander that highly. I think he has, good nights, and he has matches where, in the words of Finn Martin, has all the poise of Wile E. Coyote. I think he used to say that about Vampiro in the late 90s. It's a good line. I like bringing that out every now and then. But Commander, I don't always love him. Just a great stylistic matchup, this one, and Mortos I want to see more of. Again, you damned if you do, damned if you don't. Maybe you could make him an ROH staple and you have to watch this to see him, but longer term, like, I'd like to see him as a pushed commodity in AEW in a different world.
It's really funny with him as Taurus and TNA. He was just in decay as an afterthought, and this is a bloke who, ever since I've seen him, when he was in, I want to say, was he AAA, CMLL, AAA? I want to say he was at before. He's always been kind of great because his offense looks fucking fantastic. That backbreaker he does before he builds up to the kind of flip up pile driver, that's fucking incredible. And I thought, as an opener, this is exactly the right kind of opening match, because it was the kind of match where not only is he a good base, but he can do the flashy lucha stuff as well. But he knows how to mix both of them in. And the fact that he took out Alex Abrahantes quite early doors was something that made me particularly happy as well. I was like, get in. Like, just took that in.
Yeah, that did help, to be fair.
It was just sad that he was effectively being built up to kind of then lose to Hologram on Collision. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. That's not working, lads. How he breathes in that mask, I don't know. I'm assuming he's coming out and he's just drenched in sweat, that lad, having to wear that mask. He's wearing like a fucking horse's head the entire way, which is tricky enough at the best of times if you're just trying to walk down a road, let alone have a wrestling match in it. But yeah, it was flashy and fun in like the best possible ways. And I think he just set the tone and it livened the crowd up, because they were into the next match. Then you had the death match after that, and I think everything good kind of stemmed from you had these two of the first three matches being over delivering and being so much better than they had any right to be. Yeah, I mean, I'd go an easy 4 stars on this because I thought that was a hell of a lot of fun.
Probably go 3.75, but I'm a harsh grade out on me opening matches. But I did really enjoy it. I even enjoyed Undisputed Kingdom against the Conglomeration. I hate that name, but that was surprisingly really good. Like you say, kept the momentum going on the show. Lee Moriarty and Wheeler Yuta was a bit of a disappointment for me. I thought it was on the low end of what they were going to do. Maybe that's because the pure title was there and we had to do a pure rules match. And of course, ROH legend Paul the Big Show White was there as a judge, which was a hilarious visual gag when you see him towering over Jerry Lynn and Christopher Daniels. But just a hilarious gag in general that he's. I guess this is. It's like WCW, isn't it? Big Show was a big part of that. There you go, make him part of AEW ROH. But no, didn't love that. Red Velvet Billy Starks I thought was good. Probably the third of the women matches I'd have on the show. But Red Velvet's much improved. Billy Starks is obviously a big part of what works in AEW. And the other match of the undercard, the 6-man title match, was not much to write home about. That's probably your skip match if you're building through the show. But it all built well to 2 really good main events.
I'd say with the 6-man match, the thing about that one at least was they had the whole Texas thing going on with Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs.
And again, Collision, I thought.
Yeah, it was better on Collision as well. But it was like, I looked at it at this point and went, this is probably one of the success stories of this Arlington run, where you get in the Von Erichs, you get them for a very brief period of time, but they're always in Texas. So get them there, play on that. You can have them for that, like, it's like they're going through a territory for like 6 weeks and then they'll be gone again. And that's fine until the next time they're in Texas in there. It will sell a few tickets. It gets the crowd kind of livened up, even if they are just shit. And I could care less about the Dark Order. My God, how far they've fallen. Why they're heels, I don't know. They had something with them when they were baby faces, but bloody hell. Yeah, makes no sense. But yeah, it wasn't a great match though.
Any hot takes on the 2 main events? I thought Mark Briscoe, Roderick Strong was great. Of course, Mark Juices at a gusher. Very much enjoyed that. Mark Briscoe's been the MVP of AEW for the last while for me, and ROH too. Roddy's always reliable. But yeah, we could talk about Athena, Queen Amanita as well. That one again, maybe not on the high end of what I hope with those two, but still, very good because they're both very good. And Queen Amanita's somebody I want to see more of. But yeah, I thought Mark Briscoe and Roddy Strong had a safe bet for match of the night as well.
Yeah, they did, as they should have. It's just it felt like a very hasty, we're going to have a Ring of Honor title match, so therefore Roderick Strong kind of ticks that box because he hasn't got a title in AEW. He's sort of spinning on his heels. He should have got involved in Blood and Guts, even if it was just for a second, just to build to this match. Even if it's attacking Mark Briscoe as he's coming down the ramp to get into the ring, you know what I mean, to even up the numbers, just to do something along those lines as well. But I thought, like you say, like it was like a lot of fun, and it's just lovely seeing Mark Briscoe get this kind of run at this stage. This is a guy who's. And he's bigger than Ring of Honor at this stage. This is a guy who feels like he's in that solid upper mid card in AEW. This is a guy who, like, for all of the component parts of Blood and Guts, he's one of the ones where it's just like, actually, I'm all right. I'm all right with him being in it. There's other people I'm not all right with it being involved in this match, but with him being in there, yeah, I'm absolutely fine. And then when we got the baby out on Collision as well, as a man who's
Baby J.
Exactly, yeah, Baby J. But I thought that was fun. And Athena, Queen Aminata, I mean, it's an interesting one with Athena. She's being viewed as like a boutique product. You can only see her on Ring of Honor. You're not going to see her in AEW. I mean, I do
just think... Just odd that it's only her, isn't it? Like, none of the other champions, just her. Okay, I mean, not a terrible idea, but why is it only her that you do that with?
Yeah, that's fine if it was NXT and you've got 700,000 people watching it, but you haven't. You've got less than 5,000. So really, how much extra is it gonna drive in there? You don't see any sort of promotion involving her. She's not main eventing this show. She obviously main evented the one with Willow Nightingale before, but and Queen Aminata, like, I mean, she was never going to win. She's like very much like a kind of like a rough diamond. No, she never does. She's a rough diamond, but there's definitely something there. Like there definitely is something there with her, and you know, I'm talking about this match. If it's bad, I'd quite comfortably go 3.5 stars, maybe 3.25 if I was being a bit grumpy about it. But it wasn't bad in any way. The Lexi Nair stuff is slightly weird, given her role on like she's just a straight-laced interviewer on AEW TV, but here she's a character. And the Athena entrances are like a kind of like a joy, like really good and well produced as well. So, I mean, I think overall in the main, this was like there's none of the matches on here, even the stuff you think that could be bad, it wasn't bad. None of it was below 3 stars. When do you ever say that about a pay-per-view, particularly one with this many matches on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it was an argument for possible, you know, one of the better pay-per-views of the year. And again, it speaks to the talent there. I enjoyed it. Do I want to watch ROH TV much going forward? Probably not, but if they do put that importance on it, and obviously there's the Arlington tapings that have been happening in conjunction with Collision. I did think that we're not going to review Collision. I don't think anyone cares about our Collision thoughts at this point. I think we've learnt that through the numbers, but you know, it looked better this week, I thought, in the setup there and in the gaming venue. The dark walls was still a problem, but I felt like maybe the camera work was a little bit better, even if the lighting wasn't. But perfect home for ROH going forward. It does maybe help with some of the atmosphere issues they have when they tape late after the Dynamite and aren't really the reason that anybody came to see them. Maybe they can make that a longer term thing, as you said, JP. And maybe if it's not Arlington, other places, because I think this Collision idea is a winner too. But yeah, on that note, having kind of covered, I think that's all of the ROH and AEW adjacent stories we had. I am very much looking forward to Dynamite this week, and looking forward to talking it on the Thursday weekend show this week. Hangman and Darby is always going to be a massive winner for me. And yeah, obviously got Lance Archer getting dusted off because they've remembered he exists. He'll probably powerbomb some trainees, JP, and remind you that he still works there. It's usually the way they set up his matches, but it's always a good match when them two get in together. Looking forward to what happens with Bryan Danielson. Looking forward to the Mercedes Monet moving forward on her story as well. So good stuff coming up this week on Dynamite. But just talk a little bit of WWE before we get into the G1. We haven't really covered that much this week, JP. And I thought there's only one place to start this story to get into what's going on SummerSlam this weekend, JP, as we have the wild story of Jesse Ventura reappearing. A wild Jesse Ventura backstage at WWE this week, mate. He featured on CM Punk's Instagram post today, which also included a fun post picture of him with Darby Allin, still knocking around there as well, and then Brody King, still mates apparently. Phil hasn't burnt all his bridges. No Dax, no Cash, but he is still mates with those lads. Which I reckon him and Jesse Ventura talked about ahead of Raw last night, mate, on the road to SummerSlam. Unionization, maybe that was January 5th, maybe. Who knows?
Conspiracy theories would certainly come up if that was going to be the case. I think there's a lot from like a role model perspective of like Jesse Ventura being the original, one of the people standing up to, like, when Vince McMahon was first kind of like really dominating wrestling, and one of the people of standing up to him over the cut and the what was it, the home video sales, wasn't it? That was the thing that caused, and then the unionization, which
he must really be gone now. If Jesse's coming back, maybe we can believe them now that he's not doing a Rob Feinstein and's going to come back at some point. I think he's actually gone now, folks. I believe it.
Yeah, fucking hope so. But it's an interesting, funny enough, there's a documentary on PBS on Jesse Ventura that I keep meaning to wanting to get round to watch, which is like an hour long, and it covers bits of his wrestling career as well. I'll send it over to you because it'd make a good documentary corner edition on there, because I've looked at it. It's like I've only seen the beginning of it. It's a lot of talk about like the Navy SEAL stuff. It's completely free to stream because it's PBS, but it's like, okay. And then he obviously talks about his wrestling career and then him being governor of Minnesota and other stuff like that, and a whole wacky story there. But he's looking a lot thinner these days. He's not looking as big as when he was. Phil always is these days, isn't he? But yeah, when Jesse was when he was in The Running Man and Predator as well, and he was fucking jacked to fuck, wasn't he? In those
Great couple
days?
of Film Club episodes, those. It was technically Arnie Film Club, but really it was Jesse Film Club. But I enjoyed that. But yeah, did you see any of the WWE TV over the last while? Obviously, we got SummerSlam at the weekend. We'll be giving it the big preview on the weekend show. But I think they've done a good job of making it feel big enough, even if I've got a lot of issues with what they've chosen the main event to be. Maybe in the words of Hamflett, I should just accept Solo Sikoa fucking sucks, but the Bloodline story is very well done, and therefore it's going to be over anyway. And both things can be true as the main event of the show. So run through the card quickly because we'll do it again on weekend show. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, obviously on the card again. Story people are invested in. Damian Priest and Gunther done a really good job of heating that up. Wild way Gareth high on a Gunther in-ring WWE segment last week, but another good follow-up to that they had this week. Bayley and Nia Jax could take or leave. Sami Zayn, Bron Breakker will actually probably be good on the slide based on Bron Brekker's current form. Logan Paul, LA Knight's not a bad little US title match. And speaking of the Punk, had him and Drew, in which they had the go-home angle to their very serious, very important, very well built in all truth, even if the build's been probably about 3 weeks too long. Heated grudge match that we can't wait for them to rip their throats out. Oh, wait, is Seth Rollins looking like a complete fucking swat in the background. Oh, that was the segment on Raw this week is one of the parts of Raw I've seen this week, and it really is like, I think I saw somebody say it's a subtraction through addition, or however you'd word it. Like, just get him out of this. Like, could we just retcon it? Can we do it like Deborah at WrestleMania 17 and just pretend he's not part of this build? Because it's proper put a damper on things. Like, just like, oh no, we got this fucking nerd who might turn, who might help Drew, who might help Punk. Why is it about him? I just wanted it to be about Punk and Drew legitimately hating each other, because it felt like that all the way through this feud, and now we got like this third wheel getting involved. I thought the Raw segment was, I don't know if you saw it, was a bit of a miss this week. Don't think Punk was on form. Felt like one of those Collision promos from last year that I always mention, where he didn't really feel the crowd out particularly well. But yeah, last 2 weeks have kind of, if this was an EWR game, we'd be going from like 100 heat to still like 90. It's still good. 95 maybe. It's still good. But I definitely think Sophie being in box saying we've gone down minus figures. Don't know what you've made of it, or are you still hyped for the match?
I would be, but he ruins it. He actively he is an unnecessary distraction away from what should be an absolute blood feud between two guys who want to kill each other. Obviously, Punk costing Drew the title in Glasgow. And all of the other
Glasgow, then JP, careful.
I did almost say
like an Irish American.
That was bad. That was really bad. That would have been unforgivable if I had said that. But that was the thing. As a feud, I've loved it. Like, for this is like one of the feuds I've gone, I kind of get. This is when they're doing their storytelling the best. And then they've thrown Seth Rollins into the mix. Why? Because they feel like they need to have a role for it. Can you not have him host it? Do some stupid shit like that.
I don't think Miz is doing that. Do that instead.
Oh, God. I suppose it's Cleveland, isn't it? And it's his hometown. He'll get cheered. I can at least...
Is that where Miz is from? You could have given me 10 guesses and I don't think I'd have got there. I would have no idea.
I think he is. Don't quote me on that. Could be wrong, but
rings a bell. I think his dad's done appearances there. His dad's
feels...
I hope his dad.
But this just feels like, right, we're going to get to the point where we recreate Bret Hart versus The Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as guest referee. This is what it feels like. We're going to do a version of that. And that... It's not that... I think it was great in terms of the finish they did there, but not with Seth Rollins being in there. He is just going to take away from what is going on between these two. Like, that's my whole problem with it. Like, if you could, like, say, retcon his way out of it, like, just take him out, it'd be better. Just if they had it as just some fucking nasty, like, blood feud, and they were, like, going to go, right, these two are going to go out there, going to kill each other because they hate each other. And instead, we're going to be looking at the twat who's, like, dressed up like a fucking tool on there, as if he's like walked off the set of Love Island. And he's going to be there, and it's like, oh, mate, fuck off. Like, really? Like, he would just add, like you say, that phrase of subtraction by addition. It's just throwing in this unnecessary third wheel. Who could be the next feud the Punk goes into?
Yeah, you can get to that another way. You can
there's other ways, but you just don't have to have him involved in this. Can we just have this feud between these two guys?
Well, I think Punk's obviously gonna, and we're very much, building in the sense of, Undertaker chair shot, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. We're very much we're doing that. Somebody's gonna get gozzed on, and maybe maybe WWE will gimmick a chair and they'll literally rip that spot off and get us to Hell in a Cell. Whereas I'd rather, if Punk's gonna be going back to Bret Law, just do like a Rumble. Was it '95? Bret and Diesel. I think that's what he's going for from his promo, where he was putting over how big Drew is, how tall he is, and how big he is. I think they're going to present the match that way, where Punk's very much the underdog against Tweener Drew, playing Diesel, as Bret used to say. So I am still excited for the match. It's just how much Seth gets in the way. But it's also going to be like the reality of what does Punk look like at this point. We've only seen him do a Rumble. Obviously did the house show match with Dominic and a couple of others, but like this will be the first Punk like proper match, isn't it, in WWE since in 10 years. We'll see how many minutes into the match he explodes, and what he looks like working WWE style at this point. Like I say, I'm a big Punk fan, so it's kind of like I'll just take what I can get. I don't necessarily disagree with some of the criticisms of his WWE stuff. He is halfway faking it that he's having a great time there, but then I halfway think he's one of those people who works himself into a shoot, and he believes this is where he belongs, and he believes this is the big leagues, and therefore this is right where he is. I think he's going to get his money out of Triple H as well coming out of this match as well. But the curiosity of it, what it looks like in the ring, and again, how are they going to work together? I'm not going full Pillman on it. I'm not going full Brett Shawn, but it will be interesting to see us. You're thinking, it could be a snug match. They have done a good job of making you believe that they really don't like each other. Although, most of that energy is going to be spent on how much Punk side eyes Seth in the corner, because you can tell he really fucking hates that cunt. But yeah, there you go. I'm excited for that. And yeah, outside of that, in ring, not a great card, but again, what you can say is it's well built. I think Damian Priest and Gunther might surprise as far as like a stylistic match. When has Gunther let you down? Pretty much ever in his career, but in WWE, it doesn't happen often still with him, even with the limitations of the style. And like I say, I'm into Sami Zayn and Bron Breakker, so yeah, looking forward to talking that with Matty next week. And if you had any other thoughts on that or other WWE stuff, I think Roman comes back. I suppose that's the other talking point. Maybe I'll do a bet with that with Matty for a weekend show. But yeah,
yes,
I feel like I want to say yeah, but I think they delayed it on more thick. If that was the case, I know Solo had that little line about Roman this past week, but I don't think they'd be able to resist not making it really, really fucking clear he's going to come back. And the fact that I have doubt, and the fact that Triple H's stories move along 6 months at a time, makes me think he might not come back to the fucking Royal Rumble at this point. I don't know.
I think he's making an appearance. I think that match needs the fucking star power that Solo Sikoa does not give you at this stage. I think for the most part of these, and this is a nature of WWE pay-per-views, I think for the most part there's a lot of like kind of solid matches that have been generally well built to, and because there's only 7 of them and they're going to be well spaced out, I just think there's not going to be as much like what we've seen with a lot of those 5-match cards where we've said like that's just not enough. You need to have some more on there. You need to really try and it's a much better number. I think you're near that sweet spot, and particularly because it's SummerSlam, it should feel big. But it's the fact that every match bar the Punk Drew one is for a title of some. There's no tag matches. There's no 3-ways. It's just 7 singles matches all of the way, and Punk Drew for me being like the kind of bigger draw. I think this is, I don't know. I remember the last year's SummerSlam, we were like quite excited going into it because they were on a hot streak and everything else, and then that just fell flat for us. It was just something that just didn't seem to click, particularly that Roman Reigns Jey Uso main event.
Oh, fucking hell.
This one I think will be much more eventful. And I think there'll be a lot more to it. And I think it's going to have enough of those kind of proper crowd-pleasing moments. And like I say, I think Damian Priest versus Gunter is going to be something. I think that's going to end up delivering as well. And we're going to get the coronation of Bron Breakker. He should do anyway.
I think it'd be ugly because Damian Priest is in there, but maybe in a good way. Maybe that'll be a positive with a Gunther match. But there we go.
That's a good match out of him.
Definitely, and obviously we'll be previewing that more on a special Thursday weekend show over on the Patreon. But yeah, to our last major subject to the show, might be last for a reason. The G1, and I say that there's been some good shows week 2. Should we talk some G1, JP? Oh, I've answered my own question on the document and said no, and everyone's lying to themselves if they think we are. I don't think many people think we are. But yeah, not much of you seen. Were you catching up on it around the pool while you were away? What was your
I wasn't
G1 watching been like this year?
I wasn't, because of the patchy Wi-Fi, and New Japan World was not liking the three corner sunny beach hotel Wi-Fi.
You couldn't get season 9, episode 4 of the 2024 G1. Oh, sorry, mate.
Now, that is rubbish. But what I will say, for the way that I watched this G1,
match by match,
I didn't. Yeah, you pick and choose your matches, which you think.
Really
well, first of all, that's quite handy. I did something where I know that between Karen Peterson's doing a lot of brilliant G1 coverage for Post, and she's putting up like recommended matches. And so I've kind of gone and picked those and had a general overview of like what's there. I mean, my main is it back? No. Is it looking like it's going in the right direction? I'd have to say potentially yes. I mean, the B block is certainly a lot more fun than the A block. The A block has got this horrific kind of like 4 wrestlers between Sanada, Evil, Naito, and Jake Lee that just can drag down every single card that they do along the way. Whereas Block B's got Konosuke Takeshita, who and this is, I know there's Japanese wrestling politics that comes into the mix, but my God, if they were ever going to splash the cash on a wrestler to just go with, you are our ace, we are bringing you in and you're going to be our fucking ace, because he's spinning his heels in AEW. He's never going to get the kind of... Doesn't matter what wins he gets. He's never going to be that kind of commodity that we all think he could be. And Matty absolutely loves Takeshita. He should be headlining the Tokyo Dome. That's really where he should be. If you like, just go from and say, no, we're gonna get his contract, work out a deal with Tony Khan, saying, look, can we have this guy? Fuck off DDT as well in the meantime. And I know that'll upset some people, but like, they're the biggest game in town in Japan, New Japan, and Takeshita in this tournament. I'm just thinking like the match with Jeff Cobb, the match with Yuya Uemura, which I thought was kind of like cracking as well at the same time. The match with Hanare from Day 6, which I know you recommended to me. So I thought that was like a hell of a lot of fun. Just every time I've seen him, it's like this guy just oozes star charisma. And they've done the other right thing of like positioning some of the young guys coming up, which that was the bigger thing that this G1 was always going to be a bit of a placeholder. Yeah, a lot of positive results where you go, oh, okay, that's good. That's interesting. Feels like we're moving away from, well, these guys have been around for a long time, so therefore they should be moved to the top of the card. And I don't want to see any bullshit straw man arguments of, well, this time in this arena last year they sold 1,418 tickets, and this time they did 1,566. Well, fucking brilliant, mate. Well done. Is that going to help long term with the business? No. Right. So can we think about long term? Because that's the stuff that's important. And I think in that way you get an impression that New Japan are thinking about it. So therefore I can be more invested if there's an element of unpredictability. He says as Evil tops Block A at time of recording, and I put my head in my hands if that fucker's anywhere near the semis.
Yeah, I've had kind of like a bit of a weird, rocky relationship with the G1 this week. As our live viewers, I noticed it dropped down as soon as we mentioned the word G1. It's coming back up again. There we go, folks. Good to have you back. But that's it. I just think there's a lack of interest in it this year, and I've been finding it difficult to get invested. There's been a couple of days this year have just been complete washes. Was it day 5, which was that day this year? But like, literally nothing happened. Just a parade of 2-star matches. there is no argument, I think, for like, God bless the people who are doing the daily coverage and covering all of the matches, but like, there's no argument for watching all of the G1 this year. It's got to be a pick and choose year, and there's outright days that you can completely skip there. There's outright combinations of guys, as you rightly said, that little Jake Lee, Evil, Sonada, dare I say it, Naito kind of group, that just make me, roll my eyes as soon as I see who they're in with. But then there are those little bright spots, Dave Finlay, I'm not gigantically high on, but I think he's done good work so far, and they're clearly behind him, and I guess you've got to be behind somebody, so that, they're going with him. I think that's been a positive. I think Yota Tsuji, this has felt like his tournament, although the win-loss record is worrying me a little bit this deep into it. Let's hope there's a big rebound coming for him, because Takeshita's been like a highlight of that block, but I think Yota Tsuji has as well, just because he's so different. The big gangly fucker. Even Matty was a fan of him last week. It was him and Goto that I really, really liked from day 6. Thought that was a lot of fun. Goto's been, again, we joked about it. Remember he was like bottom of our list of guys in G1. Now he's near the top. Do with that math what you will. But I really liked him in Yota Tsuji. I don't know if you had takes on that.
I thought him and Yota, that was the one that headlined one of the days, wasn't it? Like between them. Yeah, and I thought that was so much better than I thought it had any right to be. And I also want to give a shout out for Goto versus Jeff Cobb on day 1, which was just
like a G1 match.
Brilliant sprint. It was like, it didn't, like there was no fat on it. It was like 10 minutes long, all action between a couple of guys who know exactly what they're doing. I want to give a shout to Jeff Cobb as well, who seems to have he's found himself in New Japan. He shouldn't be anywhere near the US, shouldn't be doing a TV wrestling world. He's kind of found himself there. But like I say, I think that B block is just nicely balanced between the right amount of younger guys, veterans, and established names in there, all of whom can kind of work, all of whom can credibly beat the other one on any given day, and I think that's what you're finding, and I think that adds a lot of interest. I mean, I think Yota Tsuji will be there at the business, and he's my prediction to win. And I think there's no excuse.
Also, you've done the pick'ems. I didn't get round to it. You're doing well on that league table, mate. Well, putting that together. That
was done on a toilet, mate. That was done in distress. Putting it that way. Things are. They really. What I was like, need to do this. I just sat down and did all of those pick'ems there and then. But I looked at that, and I think like as long as they get that kind of like there's enough highlights for those younger guys like Yu Yamura, I think is having a really good tournament as well. Whether or not you go all the way, I'm not as convinced about it, but as someone who should be a big featured part, it feels like he's overtaken Shota Umino for me as well, who's very lost in the shuffle in that A block. Yeah.
I think he stood out. To be honest, I think Gabe Kidd really stood out, and it's funny because Gabe Kidd's like he's just doing everything to get attention. His somewhat cringy promos, the way he presents himself. But at least he's doing something. It's like a grudging respect I've got for him. Like I watch him and go, it's a bit cringe that, mate. That promo, I'm not so sure about it. Some of the antics he's doing in the match. Oh, you winded up. Oh, you're beating up the trainees on the outside of the ring. You're beating up the young boys again, are you? Oh, aren't you edgy? Like there's a lot of that with him with me, and I think he throws a lot of shit at the wall. But at least he's trying. At least he's throwing shit at the wall. And he's standing out as a result. And this is the loudest I've seen the crowds be for him. In recent vintage with New Japan. His match with Shingo from today is one I would recommend as a match. It's Shingo, so of course I would. But that kind of polished Shingo style versus Gabe Kidd just being a bit of a madman really worked today as a match. And just in general, he's been entertaining. You kind of... Sometimes these G1s I've been to get myself through, and I've seen pretty much all of it. I've just been putting it on while I've been working at home, and it's kind of like background viewing. And when something grabs me attention, I'll zone in, which is a lot of the big matches we've talked about so far. And then there's matches specifically the undercards you don't need to pay much attention to. But when he's on screen, he does grab my attention. He does forcibly make you want to watch him, and I think that's good. And he's someone a lot of people are talking about for that reason. So he's been a big highlight for me. And the Shingo match, not today was it? It was yesterday. Watched it today myself. Was a highlight of the tournament for me.
And that was the one match that I didn't get round to seeing. I hadn't seen any of day 7, but I did hear about that match in particular.
Good win-loss record for him as well. Yeah.
Yeah, he very much feels like of their kind of the younger foreign wrestlers, and there'll come a point where there'll be a feud between him and David Finlay as well. Like you can see that being the case because he's just so much of a wild card. Like you say, at least he's trying stuff. At least he's going all in on his character. He's not fucking around with it, and he's stirring shit up. Like I know there was that stuff he was saying with Kenny Omega, wasn't he? Wanting a match with him, and Omega was giving him shit and everything else.
What did Kenny say? Like, we got a roster full of what did he say, psychopaths or whatever word he used. Yeah, I don't know if that was a shoot.
Have they? No, I don't think they got anyone like Gabe Kidd. Like he's the closest that kind of like he's just decided to go and go. I'm going to be like a modern day Bruiser Brody, and I'm just going to smash shit up. Like I think did he have a match with Evil on day one?
I think it was.
It was as much fun as an Evil match is ever going to be in 2024, and I fucking hate Evil. As I've said,
I like that a modern day Bruiser Brody means going on Twitter and saying daft shit, but I guess it is these days. Kind of is. Always. Imagine
really
what his Twitter account would look like. But yeah, he's been a highlight for me. So it's not been without its ups this year's G1. I'm still not massively excited by it, and New Japan's got a long way to go to kind of get my full interest back. But yeah, most of the days I've had something enjoyable outside of that one, that lone day that really didn't. In the absence of a GRAPPL app, like I say, Karen's reviews, the audio I'd be checking out. Cage match has been good for this, as far as recommended matches. I'd say go out there. It gives me an idea of what I need to pay attention to and what I don't need to going into the days. But yeah, it's not been without some worthwhile ones. But just don't be if there's anybody in our audience that's watching every match and is massively into the G1 this year, let us know in the comments, let us know on YouTube, let us know on Patreon, because I've not come across anybody yet. Everyone seems to feel like we do, but that's just New Japan in 2024.
And we haven't mentioned Bolton Oleg, who is very rough.
Two things, JP. We need to talk about that. I need your take on Trump and Hulk Hogan at the and Kid Rock at the what it was called, the Republican National Convention. They're two things, but when I saw Oleg, it was like, oh my god, JP's wrestler's got even more JP. He's got blue Tista pants and a fucking daft wig.
Yeah,
let's go.
I honestly, someone thought it was like Ric Flair in the Iron Claw because I thought it was hair. I thought, was he wearing a wig?
I thought too. It's a mask.
That's incredible. And it's Kazakhstan, isn't it? Is where he's from. So he's wearing like kind of that kind of color of blue.
You should just win every match, JP. You should put the belt on. I reckon you'd do that with him. If this was TW's just come out. If you want to play some TW 2024 or whatever they're calling this year's one, could go with him, mate.
I'd like to. I want to be convinced they fixed the UI because I found just negotiating my way around the screens of text, and I'm used to Football Manager, and unless you're doing it like that, it's a hard sell for me. But I want to do it, and he at least is different and interesting, and he's rough around the. I mean, I watched him have a match with ELP that I thought was actually like kind of. I was watching that in Children's A&E today. I wasn't just hanging around there. I was taking Charlie there. Oh yeah, he's all right. He says he's probably upstairs, like shitting away as he has been for the last 10 days. But like, I at least I look at him and I go like, he's fucking all in on this. Like he's like sort of throwing himself into just the big hoss, like powerhouse guy that they've got in there. And again, it's different. It stands out. He's not had to do some sort of excursion when they sent him off to Mexico for a year or whatever. It's just like, nah, they're just going to go with him. And
just checking, you're still talking about Oleg and not Hogan, right?
I am. Well, the Hogan stuff. I mean, my immediate thought on that was Terry's pulled basically what he did against Warrior. He stole Trump's heat. He really did. People are still talking about Hulk Hogan in 2024. All of the comedy shows, he was all over that. He's been all over Fox News. He is a guy who is going to be in that world of the right-wing grift where there is big money to be made and he loves a few quid, does Terry. He is going to throw himself all over that. Obviously, it was absolutely fucking cringeworthy. But for that crowd and everything else, it worked. Like when you've got vice presidential candidates talking about Hulk. he realizes, like, how do I get myself over here? He's like, well, I'm just going to do a couple of Hulk Hogan things, and people are going to remember that. Him tearing the shirt, the look, and everything else. But I've noticed he has become a regular on Fox News in that time. He is going to become more and more, like, when it comes to, regardless what happens in the election as well. And thank God Joe Biden stood down for Kamala Harris, because it's at least given us some sort of hope in there. But fuck me, Terry's worked a politics play on Trump. He really has. He stole fucking heat from him, which is like, I just want to say, like, fucking hell, Terry, like, he's a master at it. I don't know how he does it, but he does.
I was reminded to talk about it because I got an unprompted text from Joe going, "You are going to talk about that on the podcast, aren't you?" And I was like, "Oh, JP's off this week, so you might have to wait." It's just for Joe that who thought in the year 2024 you'd see fucking Hogan and Kid Rock, like, and Linda McMahon and fucking Kane the cunt was there as well, all there to welcome in the presidential nominee. Just insane, isn't it? My favorite thing about Kid Rock was I threw on YouTube, because I watched the Republican National Convention. I've started getting some worrying recommendations. It's a bit like being on Twitter, where fucking Elon Musk, the cunt, just beat you over the head with right-wing talking points that you definitely didn't ask for. I got, like, there was another Trump rally going on, and I clicked it. It was after he got shot, obviously. So I wonder what he's going to be saying. And it was like the pre-game, and they were just playing music. They were playing literally like Kid Rock, American Badass, uncensored, to, like, this entire crowd of, like, Republican Christian Trump supporters, kids and old ladies, and you could just hear Kid Rock going, "Fucking motherfucking fucking." I'm just like, oh my, these are worlds collide that shouldn't be collide. There's no way these people think this is good music. This isn't Garth Brooks. Like, it's fucking Kid Rock. And even Kid Rock, you know, probably thinks he's current, and he's like, you know, or he probably thinks Hogan's a current name, to be honest. But, like, fuck me, he's not even popular for 20 years with people who'd like that type of music. Never mind those lads. What a fucking match made in hell.
It fucking absolutely is. And what's incredible, like, I mean, in terms of, like, Kid Rock has become like a focal part. It's like there's three components of any Trump appearance now. There's him, there's Dana White, and there's Kid Rock. Normally at a UFC event. Like, they're just like, but
tied
do you know
together?
what? It's sadly
like a trio.
Yeah, it is like the world's worst trios. And I hate trios. I don't like it. Don't like them at all.
We didn't mention that with Rev Pro. I'm sure you're looking forward to the King of Trios, or whatever they call it, the Trios Grand Prix. Sure, excited, mate.
Hey, do you know what? 2-day tournament, one-off thing, fine. 2-day tournament, that's all right. It's a novelty card. I'm all right with that. Regular tournament, regular championships being defended, absolutely fucking not. I want no part of that stuff. We've seen that already. Do you know what? The Von Erichs and Dustin Rhodes, they're the right level of trios champions. Like, blokes you're not doing anything with anyway, so fuck it, why not? We're in Texas, we'll just put some belts on them for a few weeks, and they can do some easy stuff to kind of heat up the crowd. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing about this is it feels like Hulk Hogan's appearance he's had a bad time of it, Trump, since Kamala Harris has kind of come in as well, because they didn't know how to attack her and everything else. And it almost feels like Hulk Hogan was the high point of it. And then he did his meandering speech, which I think you said you watched, didn't you? You watched loads, and it was just...
After half an hour, he just got bored and started going into his own, like, his bag, didn't he, of, like, I'm just going to be a cunt for an hour now.
Yeah, he just talks bollocks. For the most, he just talks shit, meandering shit. But then he is nearly 80 years old. I know that'll get us some grief on the YouTube, where it's just like, well, seriously, listen to his speech and tell me how it's good. If you think an 8-year-old man doing that, where, you know, it's just that's all he fucking does. He's just talks absolute bollocks. But yeah, Terry's played a fucking blinder here, sadly.
I have to put this into the show notes now. But a great G1 review, JP. Thank you. That brings us to the end of our G1 talk. I'll timestamp them both. Did you actually have any other thoughts to the G1 before we move on? I think we've summed it up really there anyway. Yeah,
I think we summed it up. A better idea. I mean, obviously we've still got a couple of weeks to go. It'll start to kind of, the field will narrow up and everything else. But they just need to carry on this. What they cannot do is resort to conservatism. And here's another thing as well. I just look at taking having the person who wins the G1 challenge Naito at, like, whatever the next big paper or the next big New Japan show is, and just take the belt off him and go into the Dome. Yeah, have Suji win it, and then Suji wrestle someone else at the Dome. Just do it that way. Don't work on the idea. Well, Naito's a draw. It's just like, it doesn't help you look like a company in 2024 going into 2025 that's kind of set up for the future if you're going for someone here. And I've heard a lot of like, oh, he's doing the Destinos badly deliberately. It's like, for what possible aim?
Sorry. I was covering my track, JP. I was saying it was shit by going, if it does turn out to be a work, it's a really stupid work. But I wouldn't rule it. Or maybe they'll turn it into one. But yeah, I just think isn't it one clean in fucking months, it doesn't feel like.
Nah.
Wild.
He's been doing it for, I'm still haunted by Forbidden Door. And the one he did there, it's like, well, what was the purpose there? But anyway, yeah.
To write Moxley off. Well, there we go. That's the G1, and that's all of our major topics kind of covered for the patrons who can see our show notes. But yeah, any takes on a couple of the minor stories before we get out of here, JP? Anything else you wanted to talk? I didn't watch Bloodsport, but MVP showed up. I wanted to watch it, but it was I was kind of hoping for a 9 p.m. Sunday night one, and now that the moment's come and gone, I heard the Creed brothers did well. But MVP shows up, MVP versus Josh Barnett, match made in heaven for Steph in the audience there. But yeah, any interest with you?
Absolutely none. I mean, I saw the conversation that you were having about Bobby Lashley, because it feels like with MVP, inevitably...
Lashley would be more interested if he'd have turned up. Obviously, I think he's still under contract, so he can't. But yeah.
He'd be a much better fit for Bloodsport as well for that. I was just upset that Josh Barnett beat Bad Dude Tito. But I don't want to see MVP wrestle. MVP as like a manager, like as a figurehead of a group, I'm fine with. But I can't say I agree with Matty, the idea that for a roster like if AEW didn't have the size of the roster it did, bring in Bobby Lashley, I think I'd be fine with.
Year one. Imagine he was Jack Swagger. Imagine just swap them two. So that'd be better, wouldn't it?
That would be. I'd be absolutely fine with that. The age thing, I'm much less bothered with, because I think we've seen with Christian and with Edge that they are able to kind of like, you're able to get away with it for like a short period of time. And I agree he has that look of wrestler, but they don't need him. He's not going to turn around business, and he's just another person they've got to figure into storylines that they don't have space for the people they already have. I mean, we're talking about Daniel Garcia and why he's leaving, and Ray Phoenix, if he leaves. Like, that would be the reason why, is they get lost in the shuffle. It's like, well, what are you going to do with Bobby Lashley, who's not going to come cheap as well? Like, in many ways, I would like it. And I think MVP comes alongside that, because if you're not bringing him in alongside Bobby Lashley as like someone to talk for him, then really what's the point? Because he's not going to be able to wrestle. Like, and him versus Josh Barnett, I don't want to fucking say. That would just be a Bloodsport match I would actively try and avoid.
Still the truth is the Moxley match wasn't that good. But anyway.
God.
Giulia being done, I mean, that was expected, wasn't it? Looks like she's wrapped up and headed to WWE. Don't know if you had any takes on that.
It's how soon do they push her? At what point are they going to put her in there with Roxanne Perez? I think she's got quite a lot to prove, because I think there was the high point of her losing the hair versus hair match with Tam Nakano, and that was great, and it was brilliant matches and a great feud. And then I've been very underwhelmed by a lot of matches I've seen her in since. And I think there's an element of she's going to need to kind of really push herself. So, I mean, they don't need to rush her in. You put her in after, like, looking towards like kind of late August, even September, when sort of post SummerSlam, and she'd be someone you'd want to sort of like introduce when you're doing NXT on CW, because that goes in there, is it October? As well. So you can even hang off until then as well. There's no rush to get her into the mix as well, but she will need some time on NXT, and she will need to kind of prove herself there as well. But yeah, Marigold's still doing strong, mate.
And yeah, I suppose if this was weekend show, JP, this would be the Anne Finally story. You mentioned this before we went live, that you wanted to reference it. OVW, mate. Ambitious venue booking, to say the least, is what we'll find. And I'm just trying to get the tweet up, but they haven't sold many tickets as is their headline here for this. Is a Fight Night, the show. Oh no, it's it is OVW Fight Night, August 31st. Not looking great, mate.
And it's set up for like 7,000 people, and they've sold about 500 tickets. Just move. Just take the L, move. Like, realise that total tickets sold 417. Fucking hell, that is that's insane that they're trying to run this as well. And it's a shame, really, because I thought I loved the wrestlers, loved it when we reviewed it. I was like, I really enjoyed it. I watched it with Vicky as well, who had thought, wow, it was a lot more fun than I thought it would be, and kind of was a bit more invested, but. You work small. It was like that was part of the charm of this. This was a very small.
Sorry, JP, just to interrupt. Update. That is actually an old ticket map. They haven't sold 417 tickets. They've actually sold 576.
All right, fine. Problem solved. I take back all of what I've said on there. Isn't that a different show?
Oh, it is. Yeah, right. So that's doing just as well. Fucking hell.
I mean, why are they doing that? This is their whole thing when you watch the wrestlers is they do these very small shows all around like Kentucky and the rest of it. Why aren't they continuing doing those and building it up? Like, dare I say, a bit of arrogance and overstating what the Netflix effect is. I know WWE take warning on this, but you look at, what is it, 468?
There we go. WrestleNomics, eat your heart out. We got the updated number from WrestleTix here. 468, in fact, for the Fight Night show with the 6,040 capacity.
That's shocking. That really is. That's a
lot of blue in it when you look at the seats available.
A lot of blue.
Sit wherever you want, like me at Wembley in the top deck. Just walk around, just taking 5 seat rows to myself,
Yeah, exactly. You're going to buy the cheapest ticket, and you'll get a front row ticket either way, won't you? But I mean, this is like, where did they think that was going to be? Where did they think the demand was for it? How much is it costing them in rent for this? Even
Corbell wouldn't do this.
Nah, he wouldn't do it. It's mad. It's like small. Like this is never going to be anything more than a small regional territory. So you embrace that fact. You embrace the fact that the crowd are close up and you get the interaction there. Why the fuck are they running arenas like, what's it called? The Appalachian Wireless Arena? What?
Your old haunt.
My old haunt, yeah, exactly. I've been there many times. Bloody hellfire. Just fucking lunacy. So, yeah, I think they reap what they're saying. It tells you more about the business sensibilities of Al Snow as well, I like to think.
Or it could be the other bloke. He was great worker, wasn't that the quote from Neville Southall? Something along those lines. Jesus Christ. Well, there you go. That's the end of our other topics. A couple of other news and notes which you'll cover on the midweek news dump, JP. But was there anything else you were dying to get a take out in? I'm glad we got the Trump Hogan story in there at the final hour. Anything else you've been gagging to talk before we get out of it?
I can't think of anything else that immediately comes to mind. There's still stuff I'm playing. I suppose I'm playing little bits of catch up on it as well, but obviously a bit more of G1 as well. But then it's that big SummerSlam weekend, and I just want to again say for all of the brilliant stuff that you guys have produced in terms of I want to say about the story of DDP and Savage that you did with Simon Mulvaney, King of Madness. Phenomenal show. For that, I haven't listened to all of it as well. I do have to say the review you did with Michael Hamflett, you and Matty did for the flashback of the invasion. I was genuinely jealous. I was like, I'd have loved to have done that one. That seemed like a bloody good laugh on there. Like say, Nick Patrick versus Earl Hebner being a match on that. Like my God, it was.
I have no recollection of that.
I've none. I was like, that was a thing. Bloody hell! Like can't believe that in the slightest. But yeah, some brilliant shows on there. We've got loads of great stuff coming up as well. And obviously we've got all roads leads to professional podcasters doing a professional podcast live at Hackney Bridge, across the road from the Copper Box before the Rev Pro show starts.
definitely. If you haven't got a ticket already, final tickets remain. I think we can say that.
Yes.
Rev Pro are saying that actually with the York Hall show. So if we do decide to go, we need to get that sorted. Looking good for Rev Pro, that one, and doesn't shock me with MJF being announced. But we can't announce MJF for our show, but we can announce that all four of us will be there. Andy Ogden will be doing a raffle. Liam will be knocking around. We'll have a few guests of honour in the building as well. So if you don't have your tickets already, do get them. But packed August coming up, the debut of GRAPPL, lads. We'll have that live show recording up for patrons, as well as the mixtape of the best matches on British soil, and also Carl Gack's choice for as King of the Mountain, which you can become for the low price of £25 of subjecting us to some insane clown posse matches, which I'm actually quite up for as well. But plenty of other things going on. Time retro. We'll have a special SummerSlam spotlight coming up, and plenty more where that came from. But other than that, that's it for us for another show. Thank you to our patrons and YouTube members for another cracking month. Thank you to our live patrons and live YouTube members for sticking with us tonight, and thank you most of all to our Kings of the Mountain, Conor O'Loughlin, Eddie Sideburns, Chris Platt, Ewan Cameron, and I guess Carl Gack. Outside of that, we thank you all for tuning in. We will catch you all again next time.
Bye.
Good night all.
It's sad, is it?